I'm gonna steal your sunshine and I'll shit on your parade. Don't get me started on doing Michael Caine. My opinion matters, yours will fall in last place. I'm not shutting up and you'll be learning my name. Fifth in the family, but first in my mind. 1 out of 10, but I'm ranking just fine. We've only got now, there's no afterlife. Look, Mom and Dad, I'm just speaking my mind. Everything's coming up Kyle tonight. Everything's coming up Kyle tonight. Everyone's coming on Kyle tonight. Wait, what? No, nobody's coming on Kyle tonight. Everything's coming up Kyle tonight. You can't shut this mouth, but you're welcome to try. I only stop talking and drink, smoke, or eat and cry. I'll never shoot up, gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die. Everything's coming up Kyle tonight. You can't shut this mouth, but you're welcome to try. I only stop talking and drink, smoke, or eat and cry. I'll never shoot up, gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die.
All right, everybody, we are live here with episode 22 of season 3 of Kyle Mocha Won't Shut Up.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us here live on YouTube and in the future on iTunes and Stitcher. Always remember that we are live 9 o'clock on Tuesdays. And right now, this week and next week, we will be. And then we'll be taking our month break in between seasons and coming back with season 4.
Yeah.
Bigger, stronger.
A bunch of things planned.
Probably not stronger. Probably not stronger at all.
A bunch of things planned.
Totally got things planned. We are upgrading. We are always upgrading. And speaking of upstairs in the chair up there in the air is Mr. Justin Olimpado.
Oh, hey there, man.
How you doing today, brother?
I'm good.
Doing good? Doing good?
Doing good.
Wonderful. Now, we are also joined in studio with Mr. Jameso.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey,
he
dude.
is our resident beer taste tester.
Yeah. We've gone through a lot, my friend.
We've gone through
Oh,
a lot
God.
of bad things. And actually, the last time you were on wasn't beer, it was soda.
Yeah, fuck
oh,
that
yeah.
episode.
That was bad. That was the beginning of this season. Yeah, that was the beginning of this season.
Was it?
and
When the fuck was that?
June, I think.
man.
Yeah.
June,
Wow.
July,
Yeah.
somewhere
It
around
was like
there.
a lifetime ago.
It felt, yeah, I mean, it was about 6 months ago, and it was a terrible, terrible evening, and I'm sure all of us and our gastrointestinals were not happy
the next
for a
day
couple
was so
of days.
bad for me, dude.
It was
Not necessarily stomach wise, but I wasn't feeling so hot because we were doing a lot of whiskey
Yep.
and different things. And I
Yeah.
just walked into the walk-in cooler, and the first thing that hit me was fresh corn.
Oh yeah,
and I was just
yeah.
like, the
and that
smell
that corn one,
tasted-
I didn't mind the corn one. That was the one that I was kind
No,
of
but I was
alright
just
with.
not feeling
Yeah.
like I was just not feeling good, and I'm like trying to get through the morning.
Yeah, well, we're doing something a little different with Jameso here today. Since it's the holidays and we've put him through so much punishment, his stomach, his palates, and ourselves as well. But we invite him in for the pain. We here just live in the pain. We are going to be drinking some
there he is.
real beer. And, there he is correct. We are now being joined by the man, the myth,
The
sweatpants legend.
the sweatpants legend. There you go, Mr. Zachary.
Now I have three
Storm.
open
Three open beers. That's a record for the
Well, I
start
don't know
of the
whose
show.
this is. This was
That
already
was
on the table.
that was on the table that was next to where you were sitting when I moved it. So I'm not sure if it's
That might have
yours.
been
They're
mine
all
from
mine,
earlier.
They're all
probably.
yours now.
Coors.
All right, yeah, we're gonna be doing some a lot of beer drinking tonight. So
Do you want to get right into what we're drinking?
Yeah, let's just jump right into what
Yeah,
we're
let's have
drinking.
4 open
You know,
beers.
well, you don't have to.
No,
worry
we're drinking
about
Coors right now. That's what we're drinking right now. So
Well, that's what
let's
I'm
just sing
drinking
a song
now.
about it.
that. Yeah, let's fucking do it.
Coors in Coors. Glad we wrote this song. Just sing it. Drinking beer. All right, so as we were already saying, we were going to be drinking a handful of really good beers during our final segment. So right now we are drinking the most middle of the road, non-offensive when it's cold beer, Coors Banquet. It's the original. Coors.
The banquet beer.
The banquet beer.
God damn it,
Although,
it's the banquet beer.
you know, I will
sarsaparilla.
say, Miller is kind of killing it in the champagne, like with the bottling of the
Oh,
champagne
yeah.
beer.
Yeah, I was
Have
talking
you
to
seen
Zach
that?
about that earlier. Have you seen the actual Miller High Life champagne bottles that they have out now?
It's really pretty
It's-
cool.
They've done that before.
They've done it before?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't ever really notice it. I think it's
How
something that
big
we
are
got
the
to do.
bottles?
I think it's like a 24 to 30. Like, I don't
I
think
think
it's more
it's
than
a
30
750.
ounces. You think it's 750 milliliter?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, so it's right around like.
If it's a standard champagne.
Yeah, that would
size
make
bottle,
sense.
yeah.
That would make sense to be 750.
What's a 40?
A 40 is 40 ounces.
Yeah.
No, I mean, how many milliliters?
I had to explain that to somebody last night.
It's a lot.
Well, a
Is that
liter and a
40
half.
is more than
Yeah.
750?
40. So 380 milliliters is a gallon.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, I know that 30.
Wow.
I know liters to.
3.78 liters.
Yeah, 3.78 liters is a gallon. So now we're gonna break down to milliliters.
40
Welcome
ounces
to
is
Math
1,200
Club. Millimeters.
millimeters.
That's a long
Stumbling
beer.
out of the gate.
That's a long beer.
Wow, they-
Yeah.
1,200 milliliters?
1,200
Oh, well, so
milliliters.
yeah,
Man.
it's like a bottle and a half of us. A little less than that.
Well,
Yeah.
we don't have High Life tonight. We've got the Coors Banquet beer. I gotta say, every time I think of Coors, I definitely go immediately to the Sam Elliott voice, and then I always think of the times where I'd be watching TV and you'd get back-to-back Sam Elliott commercials, and it would end with like Coors, and it would be like
Yeah.
Ford, and you're like, you're telling me to drink and drive right now, motherfucker.
Sarsaparilla.
Sarsaparilla.
He
Oh,
does
yeah.
Dodge Ram trucks, I'm pretty sure.
Dodge.
And they're
Okay.
the most like macho.
I thought he was doing the Ford. I thought he was the Ford.
No, you know who does
guy.
Ford? Fucking Dennis Leary does.
Oh.
Ford.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, dude, so
it
much
was
fucking this
Michael,
shit,
right?
fucking hall, dude.
That's it's a
Oh,
good
God, he's
voice.
so
That
annoying.
makes me want to drive a car into a person.
Yeah.
But no, he's.
Have you heard it might be a Chevy commercial. It was on the radio last couple months. It's like, does outdoor fire pit turn into a brick pizza oven? Of course it does, because you're a truck guy, and you go above and beyond. So me and my brother started just driving around going,
Oh yeah.
did somebody bump into you at the bar and it turned into a restraining order? Of course it did. You're a truck guy.
You're a truck guy. Truck
Got
guy.
bumper stickers about them
Don't
taking
give
your
a
guns
fuck
away.
guy. Oh yeah.
Did you mishear what they said at the deli and you punched that lady in the face anyway? Of course. You're a truck guy.
You're a truck guy.
Truck gonna fix my truck.
Oh lord.
You're a truck guy.
You're a Trumpy
You're a
truck
Trump
guy. All right, so a couple things that happened this week in the world of pop culture. First thing, they released the new Ghostbusters trailer, Ghostbusters Afterlife. Zach, have you had a chance
No
to check
idea.
it
I
out?
forgot all about
So
it.
he hasn't had a chance to check it out, but we watched it a little bit
It's
before.
I don't know.
It take place
Without
in heaven?
anything else,
No, it's without anything else to go off of. What
it's a very weird trailer.
it's not.
Yeah.
It's not a trailer that makes it look like it's going to be super over the top funny, but I am okay with that
It
because
also
if it's
doesn't
character driven
necessarily-
comedy, that's what the originals were, and if they're going for darker comedy, that's just going to work. And Jason Reitman, I mean, he did like Juno and Up in the Air.
Jason
and
Reitman?
Jason Reitman?
Nope.
Reitman?
Jason Reitman.
Reitman.
Reitman, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Reitman, yes. But so that's coming out, and the only original cast member that has anything to do with the trailer is Bill Murray's voice, but that's from the first Ghostbusters. So
I wonder if that's how he's in it.
I don't know. That would be really a shitty thing, but for him, that would kind of make sense that he just didn't show up somewhere one day, and they're
I'm
like,
not
"Well,
doing
we're
this."
done with filming," and fucking Bill's
The
not
only thing
here.
that I'm actually excited for is the fact that Aykroyd did write it.
Yeah. No, Reitman wrote it.
Oh, he didn't.
Reitman, yeah.
But Aykroyd was
helped,
on
I
board.
think, with
Okay.
helping him
He's
with
too
the
busy
storyline and
fucking
everything.
solving the mysteries of the universe.
He
with
really
vodka.
needs to help us because
with diamonds.
vodka, diamonds. Yeah, what is he distills it
Distills
over
them in
diamonds?
diamonds.
Oh
No,
my
they
God.
filter it through
Filter
crystals,
it.
but they're not real diamonds.
Crystals.
It's
that's right.
it's
Swarovski crystals.
Nope.
You can put them on afterwards. They might be a little sticky. But yeah, so that came out. Another thing that is a sad but awesome thing. Silicon Valley ended its run. It was this past Sunday. Was the final
finale
episode?
Good?
It was. It's one of those shows where it's hard to wrap up because everything on that show, it's like the second they fix something, something else goes wrong, and then it's back and forth for 5 years.
Yeah.
Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and they finally ended it in a really, I think it tied it up. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. They tied it up in a really wonderful way. But you get to see kind of like older versions of like some of the characters and stuff like that in different shots. And they did a real tasteful aging effect, like going like 10 or 20 years into the future.
Okay.
And so you like seeing like Dinesh, but he just has a little bit of gray. Thomas Middleditch's character, when they show Richard a little bit older, he's just distractingly aged a little bit. That's the only thing that kind of took me out. Okay. It looks just like his face is melting, but you live in California, and except he's indoors all the time, so he really shouldn't be melting like that. But
it's radiation coming off the computer monitor.
Right off the computer monitor in his face. Old Guilfoyle's probably worth watching just that episode alone. Like he just looks fucking brilliant. So that kind of is a sad thing that's happened, but a wonderful thing. Mike Judge was actually able to end the show the way that he wanted to. He and Alec Berg that put that together. And then it kind of goes hand in hand with The Good Place that is going to be ending in January. Now, what I like a lot about both of these shows is they are controlled by a showrunner. There is one person who is at the helm that is, kind of pushing everything through, or maybe a team, of two people. But there's a person or two people that are just 100% in control, and they've proven themselves in their lives already in the industry that they're able just to say, you know what, The Good Place is getting a lot of really great reviews, and they're getting awards and nominations and blah blah blah. We're ending it after 4 seasons because I figured out how to end the show the right way. And that's the way shit fucking really should be. Let the person have creative control, and when it's done in their eyes, it's done in their eyes, and don't beat the fucking shit out of it. Like
if they're good enough to put out something like that, then let them do another project for you.
I mean, he did Parks and Recreation, left Parks and Rec, and then went and did that show almost immediately. So, and then before that, he was running The Office. So it's like he's been for the last 15 years steadily on top of the world, and he has a bunch of other little shows.
Maybe that's why he was able to actually end it the way he wanted to.
That's
exactly. He has
it's fucking yeah. He's got his standing, and so I definitely highly recommend just to people listening if you're looking for something good to binge watch. It's always fun to wait till the show's over and then get really into it in a day and a half and watch the entire series. Definitely go check out Silicon Valley, and definitely go check out The Good Place, because Good Place again will be back in January after like a 6-week hiatus for 4 final episodes.
It's just going off-roading a little bit.
I love off-roading.
You talked about
don't worry.
Whoa.
Keep going.
Okay. You talked about like aging effects and stuff.
Yeah.
In the opposite direction, did you see how fucking crazy The Irishman looks?
I have not watched it yet.
I heard they went too far with making him look young.
Well, it looks like they were made in a video game, like as realistically as like a video game can make someone look right now.
Okay.
And they just projected that face onto some people. It looks weird as fuck.
Is it like distracting? Take you out of the movie?
Yeah, well, because like the way like lighting interacts with their faces, it just doesn't look natural. It looks really weird.
Yeah.
Really fucking
Uncanny
weird.
Valley.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that with the lighting. It's fucked up.
Now, you watched the whole thing?
No, I didn't. I just watched a couple clips and I was like, this looks insane.
Yeah, because I'm curious as to how much of the movie is de-aged. Like, if it's a majority of the movie, that's just going to be something that
so. I thought
is
3
gonna be
hours.
distracting.
I would imagine it probably a third of it at least.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a whole movie. That's a third of 3.5 hours is a regular like movie. Pretty much. That's a lot.
I don't know. I really have no idea how it's laid out. But if it's a Scorsese. It might just go in order.
Yeah,
I'm thinking like Goodfellas.
He generally goes in order, or he starts from the end and then goes back and does the whole thing. In Goodfellas, it's at the end and then it goes back and then tells the whole story and then it winds up catching up. But it's not like Tarantino chopped up and all over the place.
Yeah.
But I definitely
chopped up like the neighbors in the basement.
Keith checked it out and he said it was really worth it. He said it was really fucking awesome, and I think they got a bunch of nominations. They announced the Golden Globes. And for the first time, I think ever, the Golden Globes, no major actor in a TV show was from a broadcast network. None of the nominees for actor, supporting actor, actress, or supporting actress were from any actual NBC, ABC, Fox. Everything is now streaming, and they're better quality.
Going on anyway?
The Good Place is on NBC. I'll give them that.
I thought it was a Hulu show.
No, it's been on Good Place, and they just kind of got their credit off.
Go
of
to
Hulu,
the
basically.
Good Burger, get yourself some Good Place.
Yeah. Well, there are too many shows also right now with the word good in. There's The Good Wife, The Good Doctor, The Good Place. There's way too. None of them are related.
Dog.
It's not like Chicago Fire,
And
Chicago
Place, A Quiet Place.
A Quiet Place, yeah. A Place Beyond the Pines or whatever that was. That was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
All right, so
there's a lot of movie titles with words.
With words. And Quiet. You know, The Quiet American?
Quiet.
I can't think of any other ones. But yeah, so I'm gonna check out when I have 3.5 hours to kill on the next rainy day.
There was Shrek 4,
Shrek 3,
Shrek 2,
Shrek 1. They didn't call it that, but that's what it is now. The number 23. The number 23 part
Austin
2,
Powers
which is called
2,
the number 24.
Austin Powers 3.
What does that band
Yes.
number
Wayne's World 2.
12 looks like you?
The number 12 looks like you. That band was fucking fun. They were fun. I never listened to them outside of seeing them live, but live they played the year that Valiant Thor played the Sherman for Wadestock, and that was just two fucking amazingly entertaining bands.
Nepa
Fest. Oh, Nepa Fest.
Back in 2000.
Was that NEPA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
that long ago?
That was at the Underworld.
Damn.
Yeah, they played and they were like super chaotic and crazy sounding.
Yeah. And the lead singer looked like Mickey Rooney.
No, yeah, they're all like this.
A lot of people in my life look like Mickey Rooney.
12-year-old kids, and I'm like,
probably looks like Mickey Rourke
this
now.
music. Wow, it was wild.
Yeah, tiny little angry soccer players just writing like heavy fucking insanity, because that was around the time of like the Chariot and shit like that. It was.
Soccer players loved that shit.
They did. Because they wanted something to headbang to that wasn't what the football players were listening to. Yeah. And a little segue here into something a little bit more on the serious side. Our good friend Sean L. Sasser was in a car accident about a week and a half ago, and he's really banged up. He's gone through some surgeries. I know he broke his leg. I think he might have broken his femur as well. But he's off his feet for the next 12 weeks. Is it? Yeah. If you break your leg,
the femur
can
is
it
the
be?
big bone
Yeah,
in
but
your leg.
can you break your leg and not your femur? That's what I was confused.
You
about.
can break the bottom of your leg.
Okay, the bottom. Okay, so maybe that's
a pretty bad one. That's a
femur. It's the worst bone to break.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's wild.
I'm not 100% sure. But he's really fucking banged up, and everybody is really kind of coming together and helping support him. He is a local musician. He's a local artist. And as Justin can throw up right now, he was the man behind our original logo.
That's modified, but
that's the modified. But he did the original drawing there, and you know, we've been in, I guess, a professional relationship with him in that way. But most of us have just known him or known of him.
Yeah, he touched my butt with a lab coat on.
I bet he did.
Professional relationship.
Yeah. But if you are interested in checking out how you can help out raise money to get him mobile again, you can go to GoFundMe.com/help Sean get mobile again. All of the words are separated by a dash, so it's help-Sean-get-mobile-again. You can also go check out EggnogSkateboards.com. That's his skateboard company. You can buy decks off of there. You can buy shirts. Unless you're a fat person like me, you can't buy a 2XL there. So, Sean, when you get back on your feet, I'm going to have to have some words about supplying fat people clothing. You know, we need it. But definitely go check that out. Donate whatever you can. He's an awesome fucking guy, and this really sucks. He lost his vehicle. He lost his mobility for a while, so any penny helps. And honestly, you can donate to the GoFundMe, but I would go to the fucking skateboard.
Get yourself a skateboard.
That's where I would go and spend your money.
How much is this?
He gets it. $45 for the deck, and he's got stickers on there, t-shirts on there.
And he has a pre-order one up at a coffin deck.
Oh, nice.
We should hang that up.
That would be sweet. But yeah, we could order that. I'll try to get that this week. Get that, and then we can just post it behind Justin or something. You can just have it for forever, right behind your head. Forever. I'm never gonna skateboard. Yeah. Because I'm fat and
because you're a
have
fucking
no
poser.
coordination, and yeah, I'm wearing a Vans hat, but that's just to keep my head warm.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so this week we do have a featured artist that we're going to be listening to a new song from that. Well, not new, last year or so. We're going to be playing Steve-O and the Crippling Addictions.
Yeah.
The single is called The City, and it features Tim Brown, the vocalist from the band Elway, which is another band kind of out of Philly.
Timmy Brown.
Oh yeah, this is
Tim.
They
Timmy
played
Brown.
the Bigwig show that we spoke a lot about when Dom Trimboli
Yeah.
and Dennis were on a few weeks back, and it was just a really fun live set. And live, comparing him to the music that I've heard of his in the past, it definitely had.
Rich is saying that Dom Trimboli
Oh
is doing flash
yeah,
Let's
tattoos.
go get
I benefit to do as
yeah,
well.
he's doing some of those for that as
What's
well.
up, Rich? What's up, Rich?
Going on, buddy?
Yeah,
So,
get
yeah.
some flash tattoos.
Yeah, from another wonderful friend of ours, helping out another friend of ours. So yeah, definitely help out Sean.
Yeah.
But with the Steve-O and the Crippling Addictions, I had heard Steve-O play with the Holy Mess. I had heard him play with obviously Split 50 back in the day. This is to say it's mature seems to like either downplay it or insult somebody in any way, but this is a wiser attempt at, not even attempt, it's a wiser execution of punk rock in my opinion.
Okay.
I remember
favorite
getting
kind of punk rock.
hammered with them.
He
I
is
was way too young to be drinking.
I remember playing
House parties with them.
playing Manhunt in Walmart with Steve-O, and he and I were the only two people left hiding, and it was like 25-30 minutes, and we're both high. I was in the ball like pit thing that they have, like the big all the big balls,
in the middle.
and he was underneath the fucking bike rack, and we're just both sitting there, like not knowing if we're on each other's team or not wanting to move, and everybody else had stopped playing like 15 minutes earlier because a security guard tackled my brother Craig.
Good job.
And then threw everybody out. But that was
how
really, it was
long were you
24
stuck
hours.
in there?
I wasn't stuck in there. I was just standing in there
I
for
know,
like
but
20,
how long were
20
you-
minutes about.
okay.
20 minutes about. But either way, Steve-O's got really awesome music, and Cliff Albert, another friend of the show, he is the drummer for this band. I'm not sure if he's on this recording, but he is the drummer for them now. So without any more delay, let's jump right into Steve-O and the Crippling Addictions. This is their single, The City, again featuring Tim Brown from Elway, I think in the second verse. Enjoy. If you like what you hear, check them out at The Crippling Addiction on Instagram. You can find them on Facebook and also on Spotify. And they've got vinyl records for sale wherever they are playing. They're going to be playing out in Denver towards the end of this month. They're going to be playing, I think, the 27th with one of the guys from the Lawrence Arms, one of his new bands. And then they're going to be playing with Green Jelly in Philly on February
That's awesome.
1st, I believe it is. So some really awesome shows for them coming up. So get out and support if you are in those areas. Again, this is The City by Steve-O and the Crippling Addictions. We'll be back shortly.
Fancied any given rights. A better servant than a master. But I can order in a lie so long that there's no telling what I'm after. And there's no easy way to face it down. And there's no perfect way to hide. Just the things that kill me that I want so badly, that I love you more than life. When I even moving, not much left to say.
right, there you guys have it. That is Steve-O and the Crippling Addiction.
In music, you're basically having a conversation.
City. Oh, things are still playing.
Hold on.
Hopefully they're monetized. So they got ads on their shit. Hopefully you're seeing some of that money, Steve-O. If not, go after YouTube.
Yeah.
All right, so this week, as we have been doing for the last
Can we
month
just
or
take
so.
a second and say that was awesome?
Oh, it was
was
fucking
great.
awesome.
Holy
Sorry.
shit, dude.
Sorry.
Dude, Steamroller Kyle over here.
Steamroller Kyle. Yeah, no, that was fucking amazing. As we were saying,
Steamroll my anus.
as we were saying while we were listening to it, Steve-O's a huge face-to-face fan, so I really enjoy that he kind of has that similar interest in the punk rock of the 90s that I didn't know anybody else in high school that listened to face-to-face because it was a couple of years older than me. But he actually they played a face-to-face song. Rob and Ted all got on stage together and played a face-to-face song at the show, and that was fucking amazing as well. But you can go check them out again at the Crippling Addictions on Instagram. Find them on Spotify and on Facebook. Is that enough? Not steamrolling, James? Was that good? It was amazing.
I just, like, your friend was nice enough to, like, hey, man, play my song. And, like, you play it, and then you're just on to the next thing. It's
Yeah! I'm a dick.
It's worth the praise.
It's
Take a
totally
second.
fucking worth the praise.
Okay,
It's a
right.
great song.
It is a
Our
great
problem
song.
is we praise while we're listening to it, and then we come back and
Yeah,
I feel like we've said it already, but
no
no
one's
one else
heard
heard
it.
it.
They didn't hear it.
They didn't hear it.
Yeah.
All right. So there you go. There you go.
All right. Sorry.
It's all right. I apologize. It should be me apologizing. I'm the dickhead. But either way, we are doing our Christmas 2 album right now.
Yeah.
And we've done a couple of different sounds, a couple different genres. And this is the funniest one we've done. So probably the funniest song we've done overall. It's so fucking weird. Now, James, I'm going to actually let you kind of talk first about this because you kind of threw out the base idea of what... you had an idea for a song that came up while you were watching, you said Futurama, right?
Well, I just remembered it. Like,
Okay.
Okay, well, on Futurama, like the Christmas episode, Santa is a robot, and he's a terrible demon man.
Yeah.
He's the worst character ever. And I just thought, I've been recently, like, also getting really into political policies and things, and, like, why things are all fucked up the way they are. And one of them has to do with, like, wage enslavement and like non-union workforces getting fucked left and right. And I just thought, because that stuff's always on my mind, and then there's the Futurama thing, I'm thinking, wouldn't it be funny to write a song about a labor uprising at the North Pole by the elves taking down this awful tyrant monopolizer, Santa, who has a monopoly on Christmas.
He really does.
They don't make toys anywhere else.
They apparently do not.
Nope.
He's the only one, and he gets all the fucking credit for it.
Yeah.
And then you had said kind of in the style of like the...
Like a protesty, like folk punk kind of thing.
So that would be where we started.
Yes.
That would be where we started.
And then things went silly.
And things got super silly. Now, James and I worked a little bit on ideas for the lyrics. He kept having ideas, throwing them out to me. I would jot them down. And then I fleshed them out, as I usually do. And I don't want to say really much anything else about the vocals or anything I recorded, just because we're going to hear it, and it's going to be fucking amazing.
Let everybody experience that.
Yeah, now it is a punk song in its core. So with that, there are really pretty much only like 2 real parts to the song. There's a bunch of stuff that happens and a bunch of shit that Zach adds in, but for the drumming aspect of it for you, Justin,
punk is just really not my thing though.
Yeah,
like a D beat is just not my feel. So I always struggle with doing a more punky beat. It's not the tempo. It's more or less the style of the song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because there's always there's either weird little syncopations that are happening,
or just the way I normally do my fills is just totally different.
Yeah, you are definitely a longer fill person than what a punk song would have. And at one point, you were doing the fill, and Zach's just shorter.
And then I just went longer the first time. And I was just like, fuck it, whatever. Yeah.
So a little bit of a struggle with the drums, but I mean they turned out fucking amazing as they always do.
Well, thanks,
Zach, from your side of the writing, what were your thoughts? What did you take the idea and your inspirations, and how did you mold it all together?
I was just trying to steer it away from what you guys wanted to do.
That's what Zach does. That's what Zach does.
I just thought it sounded like some Ty Segall stuff, or Seagal, I don't know how you say his name. Like the garage rock revival, and then James is like, faster,
Faster.
Go faster. So
ended up at 200, right?
200 BPM and only 2 minutes and 34 seconds.
Shortest song we've done.
Now I would have done it at 130 BPM and it would have turned out to be 3.5 minutes. But I liked the way it came out. Really, in the beginning I wasn't sure. I was like, this fast? Really? This is just not.
It works.
It's gotta have some fucking some push behind it.
I'm in the slower camp. Like when I write music,
I know.
If I write a song at 200 BPM, it's
James has
in
heard the show
halftime,
before.
Me and Justin are both in that. Do it slow and do it long.
Yeah.
Slow and long. That's how I treat my women.
I do it slow and short.
Slow and long.
You're real nice with the
Neither
long
of those
side
are
of
true.
things. Yeah, just slow.
Hey,
just slow.
a guy
slow
can lie, can't he?
You can be slow and quick at the same time. Slow to put it in and quick to end.
Quick to pull it out. It takes me all night to get aroused, but it takes me 6 seconds to finish my arousal.
That's all it needs. That's all it needs then. So we named the song Protest the Santa, correct?
Protest the Santa.
Protest the Santa.
The Santa.
That's how I wrote it in my notes, and that's just how it stayed.
And I guess for this one, I took more of a producer credit. I was just kind of throwing shit out there. I was like, nah, try this line. Try this one.
Throwing. You're DJ Khaleding it in the background.
Yeah, I didn't play on it or anything like I normally do when I'm on here, but I was like, I got this fucking stupid idea.
Oh, and, it was such a good stupid idea.
Trying to help Kyle nail the funniest lines to
Well, it got ridiculous once we started just going for it.
Yeah.
It just all right, this is what we're doing.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't even hear the other guitars after Kyle came down. I didn't hear what else you put on it.
That's the fun part. None of us, and have you listened to it all the way through?
No.
So exactly, we never know what it's going to fully sound like until we're here. So. Without, again, any further delay, I think we just need to give the people what they need. We need to give them more of Christmas, too. So here is Protest the Santa, our Brunch Weekly original single. Again, off of Christmas 2. We will see you guys in literally 2.5 minutes.
No blood for toys.
No.
Raising our fists, 4 feet in the air. Time for our suffering to end in your despair. Now is our time, boys. This is the day. Oh God, they're coming for me. No. Don't need a list to prove that you're not nice. Even your missus says, oh, Nick's not gonna fly. This is our time. This is the day. Tear down old Santa from atop his sleigh. This is our time, boys. This is the day. Tear down old Santa from atop his sleigh. God damn it, the little bastards are trying to organize.
All right, everybody. Tonight's the night, all right? That piece of shit's going down. We've broken our back for too damn long for this motherfucker. He's going down. This is it.
The reindeer are so fed up with towing your fat ass. You pushed us to our end. This Christmas will be your last. This is our time, boys. This is the day. Tear down old Santa from atop his sleigh. This is our time, boys. This is the day. Tear down old Santa from atop his sleigh. Jesus, no, that's not what a candy cake's for! You've jingled your last ball, you've hoed your last ho-ho. The fat bastard's gotta go, we're through Turbo G Show.
All right, there you go. There you have it. There you have it.
Yeah.
A lot of character voice work
That's
went
so
into
fun.
that one.
Yeah.
That's not what a candy cane's for.
I was like, Kyle, it's gonna sound different than you mean it to.
Yeah, I was thinking like it was getting sharpened and it was gonna get stabbed, and you're like, that just sounds like someone's getting raped in the ass. And I was like, oh, on second listens, yes it does, yes it does.
Oh, we have a smorgasbord of fucking.
Oh, we've got
beers,
so many beers over here.
I'm already
So.
half drunk and I gotta work at 4.
Oh, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. You don't
Holy
have to drink
shite.
all of them, but you're going to. Now we're gonna be doing a little bit different twist to our usual beer taste
Have
test.
we all had these?
I have had none of these. I've
not
never
had
had a single one of
either.
these, so I'm very excited. We didn't want to do a
should be
blind
good.
taste test because they're all going to be very different beer. Now, what I did try to do, and we succeeded, we went with all Pennsylvanian beers, and they are all winter holiday.
Can I
themed,
just say,
or that's when they were released? You know,
rose
this type of
hips,
beer.
black currants, and chamomile.
Yeah,
Now-
that's gonna put you to sleep.
Now that is the one that I have in my hand. If that's going to put us to sleep, do we want to do that first, or do we
Might
want
as
to
well
do
do
that
it
last?
first. Let's do this.
Let's
one
fall
first.
asleep.
That's
All
not
right.
the opener,
So
right?
the first beer we have, you got the opener over there, Justin?
Yes, I do.
All righty. We have the Evil Genius Beer Company. Can I see your lighter there, brother? It is Santa, I Know Him, the festive Saison Ale brewed with rose hips, black currants, and chamomile currants.
Oh, that smells really good.
Oh, I'm just abusing Zach over here right now. All right, so let's give this a little taste test.
Abuse my whole
Ooh, it smells good.
That's really good.
Oh my God, what is the ABV on this?
You know what? This sort of reminds me of a half a
7.2.
Weissen.
Yeah, we're gonna
It-
get hammered.
This
boy.
reminds me of a
7.2.
half a Weissen.
It is kind of in that that very Belgian-y flavor to it.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's light. It's not super crisp or anything like that.
What's it saison, right? Yeah.
It's a saison, so it's meant for you to be able to sip them motherfuckers all day
This
long.
tastes like a less heavy Mad Elf.
It does.
Yeah,
It does.
yeah, yeah.
It definitely tastes like Mad Elf if you just want to have
It's got that
3 and not
sweetness to
1
it,
and
like
die.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
isn't as like syrupy. I would say
Yeah.
it's dark.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking. Like the
Yeah.
less, it's a little bit lighter.
can do that.
Now, while we are sipping our beer, the other thing that we're going to be doing is talking about our favorite albums that have come out this year.
Or unsolicited musical opinions.
Unsolicited,
No one will give a shit about.
that nobody gives a shit about, but we just want to.
I think I have the best taste in music.
I'm sure
because
you do.
everything I recommend to myself, I love.
Yes, Zach always believes that he has the best taste in music, the
I
best
do, for
taste in
me.
everything because it's for him and nothing else matters on that level, and it's not
else matters.
not a totally dickhead way, but nothing else matters. You're not a complete nihilist because you like your
I don't
shit.
care what you like.
Yeah. Hopefully you like what you like. I like what I like. But I think we're all in agreement that we like this beer and we like music. So we're going to be talking about albums that came out this year that really stood out to us. We have 4 beers, so what I figured we could do is with each beer, the next person kind of popcorn to the next person, as Zach was saying earlier. I have a list of 3. If you have more than just one, go for it. But we're gonna try to go around in the circle, and each of us kind of throw out what the album is, what brought it to our attention, if it's a band that you've been listening to for a long time, something that was new, and just what stuck out to you, the songs, the feels, anything
But
along
the
those
criteria
lines.
was albums that came out this year. Right?
This year,
This
that
year.
came out in
That's what I did.
2019.
Yeah.
Yes. I was going to throw out Wheeler Walker Jr.'s album WW3, but I think it technically came out like of November of last year,
Yeah. it's
and
not
so I
on the
couldn't put
list.
it on my list because
Well, I was
would've
the first thing I
definitely
said.
been
I was
on
like,
there.
"Oh, the Behemoth album's gonna be on there." And we're
Yeah.
like, wait, that's last year.
yeah, we're looking at
Fuck.
everything. It's like, okay, it came out like October, November of last year. Now, James, since you are the guest today, and we're rewarding you for all of the time that you've put in drinking shitty beer with good beer tonight.
Yeah.
I'll also give you the first stab at the band. It can be your number 1, your number 2, whatever you think. But
I'd say this is my number 3.
your number 3. All right. So what is the album?
So you guys might not know that Jimmy Eat World put out an album this year.
No.
Actually, I
Yeah,
do
I heard
know
on the
that,
radio.
and it
Yeah.
sounds more like their original. Sounds more like.
Like Bleed American?
Yeah.
era?
It sounds all over the place, actually.
Weird.
well, the
so
one single I heard.
I heard about it what came to my attention on YouTube, I got a recommendation for this new Jimmy Eat World video, a song called 555.
Okay.
And in it, it does not sound like a Jimmy Eat World song. It doesn't look like a Jimmy Eat World video. The dude's wearing like full costume and makeup. He looks like a space character. And it's a modern pop song. It sounds like something you would hear on Top 40 radio right now.
Okay.
That's where I heard it, I think.
There's no guitars. There's he's singing these like very like right now hooks, like hooks you would hear in like
Ed Sheeran?
No, maybe who's that dirty guy? He has a song with Ozzy right now.
Post Malone.
Sort of like that. I was like, what the fuck is it? So I was like, all right, I gotta check out this album, and that's the only song on there that's like that.
So one song is just a standalone.
Yeah, I don't know why.
So does that help? Does that hurt the album flow itself? Because one thing with Jimmy Eat World that I always liked is that they are a start to finish. I can listen to their albums,
and that's definitely one of these. In my notes here, I have it's a solid Jimmy album. It's exactly what you would expect.
Hell yeah!
It has big like anthemic guitars. Like the intros are always great. Like every intro is awesome. And like the harmonies are still there. The production's slick. Like it sounds like no matter how long ago is the last time you listened to them or like kept track of their career, it just sounds like they never stopped going. You know? They don't sound like a different band in like that lame way where you can just tell someone's just done.
Yeah, and they're just
anymore.
like
I don't know. Some of their albums, I was like, oh, they hit Bleed American and fucking peaked, and then they couldn't reach that part again.
For me, Bleed American is a great album. Futures
is number one for me.
By far, and having been able to see that in its entirety performed live was one of the greatest fucking things.
That was really cool.
That was such a great show. But Jimmy, now do you know, before you go on, how many albums have they released in the last couple of years? Do you have you been
they're one of those like
close
steady,
on
like
them?
every 2 years.
Every 2 years? Okay.
2 year kind of band.
So it's like they kind of have had the same like rise and sustainability of like Thrice, just on a totally different end of the spectrum, where they both came up and then they've kind of experimented with different sounds within their kind of core sound. But every like 2-3 years they're putting out an album and you go, oh shit, yeah, that came out. Oh shit, yeah, that came out.
Yeah, that's
I had no idea that this. What's the album called?
It's called Surviving. And
all right.
What was I gonna say?
It'd be cool if they did an Eye of the Tiger cover.
Someone did do that. I can't remember. But yeah.
Good.
It has a lot of great tracks. There's a song on it called 1 Mil. It has a hook that's so good. I really wish I had written it.
I hate those and love those songs.
Yeah,
where you're like, God damn it, that's so simple and perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck,
and,
they're kind of the kings of that.
And it's got that Jimmy Eat World thing where just like the harmonizing vocals and the choruses and stuff are just huge. They're catchy. It's like putting on like a coat that fits really well that you haven't put on in a long time.
Yeah.
I actually wrote in my notes that it reminded me of like listening to Futures in like the winter of 2004 when it came out. Like,
yeah, that's that long ago now. That's so crazy.
Yeah,
that's 15 years old.
Welcome to being old.
And that means that it's been 5 years since I saw them because that was when they were doing their 10-year anniversary for that.
I got that Hot Water Music hoodie I always wear like that day in the mail. Like I've had that for 5 years.
Damn.
Yeah.
Crazy. Oh, I thought you were gonna say 15 when the album came out.
No.
Like, damn.
I'm not that old school.
Oh,
I mean, I was listening to Hot Water Music back then, but I didn't have that hoodie back then.
So you're recommending this album then for people that are fans of Jimmy Eat World?
If you've ever liked them at any point in your life,
and if you've never liked them, like.
If you don't like them, like I feel bad for you.
Okay, if you,
like,
what if somebody's never listened to Jimmy Eat World? Maybe they've heard like the singles or stuff like
that.
Oh, yeah,
I only know what's ever been on the radio. I've never listened to a Jimmy Eat World
There's solid
album.
enough shit on this that like I would play it for him. Be like, hey, you want to get into this band? Like,
yeah.
Especially that song 1 Mil. Oh my god, like we should listen to it after the show.
It's a new album, but it's still a good gateway album to get into.
Yeah, totally, because it's them. It's very much them.
Awesome.
It's nothing.
Yeah, they were, not to just compare them to a bunch of different bands, but they also they were kind of along the same lines and came out around the same time as Death Cab for Cutie, and they were like, if Thrice was the really hard end of things and Death Cab was the really softer end of things, the more like, spaced out, they were like the sweet spot, the sweetness right in the middle of it all.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, like they
were alternative, but they were
huge radio hits in the
Yeah.
early 2000s, but also like their album after that, just had song. I heard a lot of those songs like video games of the day.
Okay.
Like, you hear the song "Pain" in a lot of like racing games and stuff like that. But it's never like unwelcome. Like I never hear Jimmy Eat World and I'm like, ah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some bands I love, but if I'm not in the mood for it, I'm like, Jimmy Eat World's always like welcome presence to my
Fuck
ears.
yeah. Again, they've been one of my favorite bands since... I mean, Drive Thru Records was founded so they could sign Jimmy Eat World. When they started Drive Thru Records, it was on the purpose of, let's start a record label because Jimmy Eat World's not signed and they're just this independent little band and we really want to get them. They started the record label. Jimmy Eat World got signed by like Atlantic or somebody, and they were on a big label and went and made, you know, all of their stuff. And then, well, Jimmy Eat World's still around and Drive Thru Records is not, so I guess that says something there.
Well, Drive Thru Records started signing a bunch of awful bands.
Yeah,
that's a whole other.
They were good for about 5 years, and that was about it.
Who's next?
All right, Justin, what would you say is one of your top albums
Why are we
of
going,
the year? Well, let's just go. Well, the first person
Why are we
finishes
going
their
top?
beer.
So we're all
I'm
gonna
going
pick three?
third. Yeah, I'm
'Cause
going.
He said that was his. That was
Number three. That was your number three. All right, we'll go 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Social Cues by Cage the Elephant.
I didn't know they put out an
Oh,
album.
that's a good. That
Don't
was a
they have a
good one.
song on the radio right now, like a hit?
I need to
They
start
have
listening
more.
to
Yeah.
They have
radio.
more alternative rock
What's
hits
that?
than any other band ever.
So do I need to start listening to the radio?
I hear it
Probably.
at work all the time.
Jesus,
now.
I'm old.
I don't know. I've always loved that band.
Yeah.
It's a solid album.
What was their first big single? Was that they weren't a
No,
funeral?
Rest for the
were they?
Wicked.
Rest for the Wicked. Okay.
The Funeral is Arcade Fire.
Arcade Fire. Okay. Can always get those bands.
Are we doing a different?
I mean,
Bunch of
I know you know what you're getting into
If you're
as
ready to
far
pop
as
into one, you can pop into one. Yeah.
you know what you're getting into with the band. You know what I mean. There's still some variations and changes that they
So-
do, but
That band has 9 #1 Billboard hits and 13 top 10.
What band?
Cage
Cage
the
Elephant.
Elephant.
They have 13
I
top
couldn't
10
name 9
Billboard.
of their songs.
Yeah,
I
but
couldn't
you've
name
heard
3.
them all.
Have I?
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure,
yeah.
dude.
Okay.
One,
I've
one
been
in
into
year
that
after
band for a long time.
yeah, I think it's one in year after the other.
No, that
Rest for
song's,
the Wicked.
No Rest for the Wicked. Yeah, In One Ear.
Yeah.
Shake Me Down,
Shake Me
Cigarette
Down,
Daydreams,
yep.
Come a Little Closer, Trouble, and then Ready to Let Go is from Social Cues.
Just every one of those singles is worthy of
What is
being
the
a hit.
feel of the album overall? Is it any
It's
different
way
than their other stuff?
dancier.
Yeah,
Dancier?
for sure.
Okay.
For
Beck's
sure.
on one of the songs.
Yep,
Fuck yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I did not put him on my list. That's a little too new in this year for me to be already.
They made a dance record.
I'll listen to it. If it's anything
that?
like.
They made a dance record.
Cage the Elephant. I
Yeah.
mean, it's more dancey. It's still poppy in the
It's
vein
like
that they
really
write.
dark 70s. It's like
Almost like a
if you
Tame Impala
drive
feel,
disco
kind of.
through like through the like gutter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gutter
It
disco.
came out with some like bluesiness still to it.
Well, when you've been in the gutter, you come out with some blues for sure.
Yeah, you do.
That is the
Are
natural
we getting into
way of
another
things.
beer?
Yeah, James. So which one did you pop open? We'll follow your lead. On
Blizzard
this.
of Hops.
Blizzard of Hops. All right. So I'm gonna
So-
kill
May I
this.
have the bottle opener, please?
Oh yeah.
Blizzard of Hops.
Here.
Oh, it is kind of a Wizard of Oz play. I get that now.
From Trogs.
From Trogs.
If you've never been, take the time. Go to go to Hershey. And,
yeah, technically, yeah, that area.
And do yourself a favor. Do the tour. Get some food. It's really worth
this
it.
is hoppy.
I have a funny story involved.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Ooh, 6.4, 80
I
It
won't
IBU.
go into
smells
too much
super
detail,
citrusy.
But
Is this citrus?
the weekend of a certain Trogs Beer Fest, years and years and years and years ago, your boy became a man.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So Trogs
so I
holds a
can't.
very special place in your heart.
This is a very
no,
light beer.
I mean,
It is.
yes and no.
Yes and no.
I mean, Trogs. I mean, it's impossible to see the logo and not like think like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that happened. But it's not like the fondest memory in the world. But
Okay.
it happened. Oh,
What's
Can we
your
do the Troganator challenge one day and just get a case of Troganator and see if we can't get through it?
Troganator is one of the best
drank a
beers.
lot of Troganator.
It's such a good fucking beer. We had that on tap at Yard of Ale back in the day. That was the thing I poured for myself at the end of my shift when we had that on.
Troganator, yeah.
Troganator for a while would have been my number one beer. It was that and like Franziskaner Dunkel were
And
like
what's
the
the
only two beers I gave a shit
Troganator
about.
is the double, right?
it's
the double bock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Doppelbock.
Yeah, Doppelbock.
Doppelbock, yeah.
Doppelbock.
Doppelbock.
Now, what would you say? I mean, we all are fans of Trogs. Just
I
on
like this
one,
beer. I would drink this
it
in the
is
summer.
light. It is
I would
light.
drink this in the summer. This is a
Absolutely.
good
You
beer
would
for
think
year round.
usually a winter IPA, I was expecting it to be
Heavy.
in your face with the hops. I was expecting it to be a little bit more.
No,
so
I
it's-
feel like I could take more hops in the summer. In the winter, it's cold,
Really?
cold as shit outside, and you come in, you don't want to get smacked in the face with that hoppiness. Like
Well,
in the
it
middle of
warms
the
me.
summer.
Did you
It
read the
warms
side of
me.
this?
I did not.
Basically, they use the hops that are on the end of the hop cycle,
Oh.
like very citrusy
Well, it's got an
hops and-
IBU rating of 80, which is not very high.
Yeah,
So,
not really. I mean, this is less than, like, honestly, this is almost kind of like fat tire ale to me. Like, this is
pretty
But I
much.
feel like that's what you want in the
Can I
winter.
read the ad copy on the bottle?
Yes, go for it.
Winter IPA to toast hop growers around the world for another successful harvest. This storm of hoppy citrus and pine notes is a bright reminder that at the end of the hop cycle is only the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, it's an
I guess
uplifting
people are
thing.
growing in the winter.
Winter sucks for a lot of people, and this is letting you know that it's not the end; it's just the beginning.
So
or
it
the
does
end
have the
before
traditional Trogs hop in the back of your mouth.
Yep. I
So
get
if
that
you're
flavor.
if you are a fan of Trogs, you will thoroughly enjoy this beer.
Now, what would you guys say? What are your, just while we're talking Trogs? What's your, my favorite obviously is Mad Elf. That's my hands down my favorite beer that they've ever created. But it's seasonal, so there has to be an asterisk next to it. Do you have like a go-to Trogs? It's like your number one from Trogs.
That's not seasonal.
Yeah, seasonal or
Sunshine
otherwise.
Pills.
Sunshine Pills. Sunshine Pills
Yeah,
is good.
That's the,
Pills is
the
great.
first time I ever had
Such an
that.
easy beer to
We went
drink,
down
too.
to Hershey. I
Yeah.
agree, that's my favorite. And we go to Hershey, have a night at the park, end up staying over because we got down there late, and we go to Applebee's. That's right around the corner.
Yeah.
And
You eat
they-
all of the appetizers
Yes.
because they're unlimited.
Exactly.
You close them down.
That was way before any of that shit happened. But they had Trogs on tap, and I didn't know what the fuck Trogs
Yeah,
was. So I'm
yeah.
like, let me have one of those. And I think I ended up drinking 4 or 5 of them before we were gone. that
Good,
night,
man.
You know,
Trogs is like, Weyerbacher is the small brewery with the big beer. Like, that was their whole thing when they were like coming up.
Yeah.
And they wanted to go, Blithering Idiot, Merry Monks, again, smack you in the face with
Double
the
Simcoe.
oh my god, the double Simcoe. They wanted to knock you out. Like, that was their whole approach. Trogs is nuance. There is a nuance to everything Trogs
I mean,
does.
Weyerbacher is way more of a bold flavor. They
Oh,
do
yeah.
stuff with
Yeah.
bitter cherry and a lot of different things in that.
I mean,
What's the regular Trogs IPA?
the regular IPA
Is that Perpetual?
Perpetual. Yeah.
Perpetual.
Yeah.
That one is when I really think of an IPA that I can get behind, because sometimes they get too out of hand.
Yeah.
That
Absolutely.
Perpetual IPA to me is like the exact middle of everything good about IPA.
Hell yeah. But they're
Oh, you
very,
might be thinking Hotback.
Hopback.
Hotback.
Perpetual though is one of their standards though.
No,
Well, there's that-
I'm thinking Perpetual.
Perpetual. I'll say I have had Hotback. I've definitely had Perpetual. I mean, yeah, for me, I think Troganator
Dreamweaver is
would be
another good one.
Dreamweaver. I forgot about fucking Dreamweaver.
I don't
And
like,
then
I don't
you-
like white ales.
You don't like the white ale?
That's a white wheat one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that their shock top type?
Kind of.
Apparently
yeah.
they have another
Yeah, I don't like those.
version of Mad Elf that they do once a year, and it's called the Naked Elf.
The naked. I've never heard. I've heard
6.9,
the
17
Well, I get naked if I
IBU.
drink enough of those.
Yeah.
Cherries, honey, chocolate malt, and Mad Elf hops.
Yeah, I mean,
Or Mad Elf yeast.
But like I'm
sorry.
saying, like it's the nuance. The first time, like you said, the first time you had Sunshine Pills, you had like 4 or 5 of them. First time I had Mad Elf, I sat down at Flood's, did my normal psycho, give me something random, pours me a pint, and goes, "This is Mad Elf," and I went,
I didn't
"Oh,
show
okay."
you Mad Elf?
And no, the first time I ever had it was Psycho, and he gave it to me. I had a pint of it, and I went, "Oh, that's really good." And I drank it probably in like 10 minutes. And then I went, I'll take another one of those. And I had 4 of them in about 40 minutes, full pints of them. And then I stood up for the first time in 40 minutes and immediately like went down, like my knees, I was like, whoa, I was not expecting that. That's what, 11-1 or something around there?
Is that, I thought it was 9 or 10. Is it 11? It might be
I think
11.
it's around 11.
Well, they also have a Wild Elf.
a
Which
wild
is
elf.
11%, and it's made with all kinds of shit. A whole bunch of cherries.
They're fucking, hey man.
What people say they taste is cherry pie, sour, stone fruit, and toasted coconut. But I have to change my favorite. I'm going through the list here. Golden Things is a seasonal beer
Don't
But
know if
it
I've had
is
that.
probably their best beer.
Yeah, I
that
do
they've
like
put
that
out.
I haven't had that one.
It is such a
I
light
always-
summer beer, but it's so good, man.
When it comes to Trogs,
And it's
I'll
an
just get
8.2.
the variety
variety.
pack. Every
Yeah,
time if I see a Trogs
You
variety,
don't have a bad beer in that
You
pack,
don't.
that's
dude.
good.
You really do not. Now to go back to the music side of things.
What's your number three, Kyle?
My number three. I have a solid number one. My 2 and 3 are kind of toss up, so I'm going to go for my number 3, "Love in the Dark" by Jason Hawk Harris.
Okay, that is a great.
Jason Hawk Harris, if you do not know about him, he is he's based out of Nashville, I believe. I'm pretty sure his sound is all Nashville.
Yes.
He has the best of the best Nashville players playing with him and playing for him. It is like a 24-year-old kid that just grew up on like good country, but still grew up in the current time.
Earlier?
No, that was Billy Strings, although he's
Yeah,
an
that was
honorable
Billy,
mention for sure. And I had even said if Billy Strings, if I had seen his album more than a week and a half ago and had more time to kind of like, next year when we do this, I'm going to try to put Billy Strings and go, oh, fuck, it came out. Like,
Came out
oh,
2019.
damn, I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
Now, on the album Love in the Dark, there are 2 songs that definitely stick out to me. The one is Cussing at the Light. I think that was the first song that the 3 of us, Justin and Zach and I, heard.
Yep.
And
That
then
has the corpse paint video.
actually 3 songs. Grandfather is the way he closes out the album. It is such a good song.
You
It
gonna
is
come?
what?
You gonna come?
I like in the saddest, greatest, most wonderful way. It is on par with like if what's that? Cats in the Cradle. That song. When you coming
Cats in
back
the
down, I
Cradle,
don't know
the
when.
Saints will-
Ruby,
Is that
it's
Cat Stevens?
Cat Stevens.
No, that's
No,
not
not
Cat
Cat Stevens.
No,
it's
it's,
Cats in the Cradle. I did the same thing the other
Harry
day.
Chapin? No.
I forget who that is.
It's
But
not
either-
Cat Stevens.
The Grandfather is
Yusef.
very
Yusef Islam. That's his
is
name now.
very close and feels to that. But the best song for me on the album, and my favorite song of his so far is "I'm Afraid." "I'm Afraid" is a song that is written from the perspective, from his perspective, but is written about being raised in a religious household and having basically a picture of Jesus on the wall, and every time you did something wrong, it was Jesus. Basically, Jesus was the sheriff in the sky that was gonna fucking like come and like get you, and like Jesus is always watching all this stuff. So the lyrics are literally like, it's like nothing ever scared me.
It was Cat Stevens.
It was Cat
I
Stevens.
mean, so many people have done it.
Yeah, okay, he did a cover of it.
Yeah, I told you.
Harry
Joe did
Chapin.
one.
Look, fucking
Harry
right fucking
Chapin.
there.
Yes,
Is that
Harry
the first
Chapin as
one?
well.
The original.
original?
The original.
Sorry.
Hey, he likes the cover
Damn.
better, bro.
Well, yeah, that
Steve
Hawk
Zachman.
Harris song. He's
Guns
like,
N' Roses
He's-
has done it.
He says like he says something to the effect. Wait, who else did it?
Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses did
Hands
it.
on the cradle and the say of us.
You've never heard that version?
Ah, God, I don't. They are. I will say that Guns N' Roses might be the best cover band ever, because the
Spaghetti Incident?
3 of their 5 hits are pretty much all
I
covers.
love spaghetti.
But the line is "No monster" in the Jason Hawk Harris song. Jesus, you love it. But he's talking about being
Spaghetti, my
raised in
daddy.
a religious home, and he says, "No monster ever scared me like the face of Jesus Christ." And it just, I was like, oh God, like that.
Kyle can relate.
It hit a fucking chord with me for sure. Where I was like, for years and years and years, I was just terrified of this creature, this being, this entity that may or may not be there. And I heard that song and I was like, God damn it, this is a fucking perfect song. But the whole album is amazing. But again, those 3 songs, Cussing at the Light, Grandfather, and I'm Afraid, definitely give those a listen to. Zach, what would be your number 3?
It's hard because so many, but I'm gonna mispronounce the title. It's In Cardia Venenum
Okay.
by Opeth.
Yeah.
This year's Opeth album. It is
It's good.
so fucking good.
When did that come out?
2 months ago?
September?
Yeah, 2 months ago?
Did we listen to that on the way to Wilkes-Barre, or was that not September?
No, that
was
was
way
like
before.
June or July.
We were probably
yeah.
listening to some other. I always listen to Opeth.
Yeah.
all
We
the
listened to a
time.
lot of different shit. That
We
day,
did,
but-
and then you played that one fucking. Oh wait, you played that country band that your dad listens to. We were sitting in traffic that day, like
Oh
waiting.
my
and waiting.
god, the fucking traffic.
Oh my god, I forgot what that fucking band was, but that
That was the
fucking
day Kyle
brilliant.
shit his pants, everybody.
I shit my pants that
Yeah,
day. We
we
talked
did.
about it on the show.
At Hardee's.
But anyway, this Opeth album, and I think it's their best. It is so good.
Yeah. Now, have they ever done anything like this before in the way that they released it in 2 different languages
No.
completely? Because that
that's
is
wild.
phenomenal.
Yeah, when you listen to it in Swedish, it's different.
It's fun because it takes when you listen to something in another language, it has and you don't know the language, it immediately takes you out of listening to lyrics. You listen to
Yeah.
the sound, you listen to the tone. His voice is an instrument making noise.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love it. Like I listened to it all the way through in English,
Metal Kyle.
and that
It's not even that metal
it
anymore.
isn't.
Though.
It really is not.
Really?
I wrote for about like 2-3 hours. I was just like working on a project and I was just writing, and I put that album on probably I listened to like 3 or 4 times in a row, and it is just, if I was like a coder, that would be the music I would put on and just zone out to and just be like and go to town. Like, it's fucking amazing. What are your favorite songs on it, or do you think it's just mostly the whole album straight to
I mean,
start
I
to
listen
finish?
to the album straight through, but I will. Next to Kin is good,
Mm-hmm.
and Lovelorn Crimes I think might be my favorite.
Take notes, everyone.
The Lovelorn, it has this
There'll be a test later.
like Cthulhu thing going on, but it, without talking about it, when I hear that song, Lovelorn Crimes, it just reminds me, maybe H.P. Lovecraft was his name, but it
Yeah.
has this sort of Lovecraftian quality to it.
Yeah.
And you know, he's become an incredible singer. He, you know, back in the day when he was doing death metal vocals, it was good. But he's become a
That's the
real...
Opeth I know, Blackwater Park.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
see, Blackwater Park was where they transitioned to be softer. Before Blackwater
more
Park,
prog,
it's
yeah.
even more brutal death metal. And then he's been in bands like Bloodbath and stuff that are more old school death metal sounding.
But you do see that natural transition for people that are vocalists when they go, I'm not going to be able to do this for forever.
And
I
think
need to learn
that's
how to
all-
sing. Cave-In
all 3 of my picks tonight are bands that
were one thing.
that were one thing, and then they did something else.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
I love playing the Cave-In game with people.
Yeah.
I'm like, here's a song by Cave-In. Here's another song by Cave-In.
Here's
the same band.
Antenna. Here's
See, with my second choice,
here's the Piebald EP
is that kind
split.
of band.
Yeah, right.
And then
Wow.
That's their first release for both bands, I believe. Piebald and Cave-In was together.
Back when that shit happened all the time.
Yeah.
Shows
people
were like
releasing
that.
7
Remember, there was
inches,
always
yeah.
like a heavy band headline.
Dude, locally.
And a bunch of indie and punk, like
Well, that's
pop
when we were,
punk
when
bands
we were at
would
the
play.
Big Wig show. We were talking about that. I was like, remember Toast? And you would have like Bigwig would play.
Can we
and
toast
then,
Toast, by
we
the
can
way?
toast to
Toast.
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 Quaker Alley, you
Rest in
dirty,
peace.
dirty piece of shit. But you would have a ska band play with an emo band playing with a hardcore band.
A new
playing,
metal band.
And yeah,
Crush Pile would
Crush
play.
Pile. Oh, and all their Crush Pillions would be out and
Crush
about.
Pillion. Hey, I was a young Crush Pillion.
You were?
It's not my proudest moment,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I was there.
I, for a while, was really into
was Rich, if he's still
Cottonmouth
there.
DN. They were a
they
local
said
band.
Cottonmouth Kings.
No. I got it so confused. I got into a deep conversation one day with a guy about how much I loved Cottonmouth DN, but I wasn't saying DN, I was saying Cottonmouth, and he just thought I was shortening.
Cottonmouth Kings.
And I was like, yeah, we're having this, and I'm like halfway through, I'm like, oh, we're not talking about the same thing at all. We're really
That's
not.
embarrassing.
We're really not. And then it was for both of us. I feel like it was embarrassing because he was like, oh, this kid knows shit, and then I'm like, this guy doesn't know what I'm doing here.
Can I just share a quick story? It just popped in my
Always.
head about Crush Pile.
Yes.
One night, Rich and I, our old band, was playing the Underworld, and I think we weren't opening, but we were somewhere on the bill, and Crush Pile was the headliner. And we're all hanging out back of it, if you remember that area. Like,
Sorry, what was the venue again?
the Underworld.
Yeah,
The Scioto Underworld,
okay.
Yeah. So we're hanging outside the back, and I think it was... You know what? I'm not going to specify because it's a crime. Someone from Crouch Pile had a McDonald's cup full of whiskey
Yeah.
and just handed it to Rich, who was all of 16 or so at the time. And
Yes.
was like, hey, man, take a swig of this. And Rich was like, okay. Just fucking down a bunch like a champ. And I'm like...
Always never the straight edge kid.
No. It's like... And me at 16, I was like the most straight edge kid there was. I
Yeah.
was like... All right.
All right, that happened.
Weird. Yeah, that was
happened.
I just wasn't around much of that.
I'm gonna go live journal this right now because
actually remember my live journal back in the day was always like show reviews.
Yeah.
And I don't know, a lot of people read it, I guess, from what I heard. But
hell yeah.
But yeah, that story was almost certainly on there. Yeah, and then, you know what's funny? I won't go into much detail, but I still see that guy a lot.
See, I don't remember what any of those people look like.
I do. Well, I don't think he's in the band anymore.
I don't think they're a band anymore, are they?
No, he's not even on, like, because I looked into this recently because this popped in my head. And,
okay.
Because I kept seeing this dude, and I was like, is he? Oh no, he left Crush Pile at some point.
Okay.
But yeah, that was the thing back in the day.
How local were they?
They were just over the border and from Jersey.
Okay, because I always remember, like, because they were
heard of this band.
Yeah, they were.
In 2001, 2-ish, they were very prevalent around here.
What genre would you
11.
say they were?
Oh, they were straight up new metal.
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
Zach would have loved them.
Well, you see,
Zach
they had their
would've loved
CD and
them.
their T-shirts at Rockin' Willie's.
Yeah.
Back when it was Willie T's house.
Yeah.
In the mall.
Yeah, by the food court.
Remember how cool that was in the back room?
Oh,
yeah, that was the shit.
That was the first place I ever made out with a chick. Was in the back room of the. Yeah, we went in the
That's
back.
the most fucking.
It was so
Strauss-looking
sketchy.
thing I've ever heard.
It was so sketchy. Hey, but right after that, we went to the J.C. Penney's changing rooms.
Nice.
It was a good
Wow.
day. It was a good day. Both of us getting dropped off by our parents to go see a movie and just spending 2.5 hours walking around making out in random places that we could find to make out.
So it was like the shittiest version of Mallrats ever.
Oh no, I was getting to make out with a chick that was step one into girls way out of my league. That was amazing. That was great for me.
You could have just went into Sears and chilled on the beds the whole time.
Dude,
nobody would have given you a
the
fuck.
J.C. Penney's beds that used to be like in the windows in the mall, I would go in and lay in them and just watch people walk by, and I would just like stare at them until someone yelled at me and told me to leave. And I really didn't hang out at the mall that often.
Kyle's always been a creep, folks.
I've always been a creep. If you can't
Once a
gather
creep,
that,
always a creep.
you can take the kid out of the creep, but you can't take the creep out of the. Never mind.
Whoa.
All right. So, James-O, what is your
Yikes.
number 2 album?
Holy shit. Hang on, let me open my notes here. You caught me totally off guard.
Keith did say in the chat over here
Y'all
that
need to
y'all
listen
need
to
to
Lost
listen to
Dogs.
Lost Dog Street Band.
Yes.
I've listened to them. They are really fucking fun. He got to see them live, and now he's got a hat. It looks like an NRA hat, but it just has like their like logo on it and
Yes.
everything. It's fucking awesome. It's fucking awesome.
Okay, so my number 2 this year was from a band called Pup
Pop!
Yeah.
from
They have a
Canada.
new album?
Yeah.
It was called
I
Morbid
am
Stuff. We
missing
listened
music.
to that one song back in like March or so.
Oh, okay. That would be
the
this
album
year.
came out in April. Let's see here. They're kind of like a post-punk band.
Yeah.
They get punky. They get like kind of. They have like one song on this record that's almost like sludgy. Like it's weird, but like it's like post-punk. They get like screamy. There's really great hooks, both guitar and vocal hooks. I gotta say, this album came along. It's one of those things that like lightning strikes you at just the right point in your life.
Yeah.
When you're just like really receptive to a certain kind of thing.
Yep.
And this album is all about like, a lot of my favorite punk rock is like this sardonic, like sarcastic, like self-hatred kind of thing, but with like a wink to it.
Yep.
Like, I'm such a fucking drunken piece of shit and I hate myself, but you know what? Whatever. That stuff always appeals to me, and a lot of this album is that, and but the thing that makes it worth listening to and not just like this exercise in like, I don't know, depression is like there's always like that little bit of hope. Like,
Yeah.
everything sucks, my life sucks, I'm not the person I want to be, but you know what? I could be, and things could turn around, and we're holding out.
Yeah, it brings
and,
it's almost edging you in that way. It edges
I mean,
you
can,
right up to
that's
the.
one way to
love
put it, my
edging.
dude. Yeah, like the thing that like kept me. Well, like a lot of the stuff I end up liking for a long time. There's like a hook or something that gets my attention, and then really good lyrics.
Yeah.
Hold me there, because I'm a lyrics guy more than anything. And this album is full of great lyrics, great songs, great themes in the songs. Like the title track is the intro, right? And the first line of the album is, I was bored as fuck, sitting around thinking all this morbid stuff, like if anyone I've slept with is dead.
Jesus.
Like,
Oh,
like they're not fucking around.
that reminds me of the song that Zach was listening to the other day, where everybody's dying. What was it? Everyone's gonna die.
Yeah,
or-
the new church.
the new church. Yeah. Oh,
Church of the Cosmic.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
heard that song
yeah.
the other day.
Yeah,
Actually,
not
Everyone's
church,
gonna die.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's so good.
so fucking.
Yeah, this a couple standout tracks I made note of. Of course, the title track, "Morbid Stuff." The song "Kids," which we listened to.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's the one which like it gets kind of like wordy. He's just like talking. And he's like, "Your fucking shitty songs are getting way too literal," and all this stuff. Like he's talking to himself.
Very tongue in cheek.
It's extremely tongue in cheek, and yeah, like that really stood out to me. And they have a song called "Scorpion Hill," which starts off like a country song, kind of,
Awesome.
and then it turns into like a late '90s pop punk song, but not like a cheesy one. It's great. It's got like just this like twangy acoustic guitar and this kind of like Nashville kind of like melody to it. Like everyone's joining in on the singing and builds up. They have a song called I think "Full Blown Meltdown" or something like that.
Okay.
I didn't write it down, but that's the one that's like almost sounds like a High on Fire song.
Jeez.
Doesn't feel like anything else on the album. It sounds like more down-tuned and distorted and screamy and fucking insane. And the lyrics are really about hating your own guts. Yeah, there's a lot of great shit. Like
So self-deprecating. With,
self-deprecating,
with
but
a
also
nice
like
hint of humor in there.
yeah, it's clever.
It's
know?
almost a black comedy album.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Like anyone can be like self or like hate themselves like this shitty band. What's that? Five Finger Death Punch, right?
Yeah.
Like they're the corniest band ever because they're like,
Yep.
I'm sorry, I'm not good enough. But like when you have like a
they should
bit
literally
of
just five-finger death punch themselves
yeah,
at this point.
when you have a little
It's
bit
not
of
good.
cleverness to it or like a wink and a nudge, you know,
Yeah.
like Alkaline Trio lyrics. They're
Yeah.
like I'm a drunk piece of trash, but you know what? Like things could be worse.
Definitely.
I love that kind of shit. And
Now, have you been a Pup fan for a while? Because they're a band that I will say Ethan Jurley has thrown them to me so many times, going, "You need to listen to Pup. You need to listen to Pup.
well,
you
everyone
should be listening to Pup."
They had a really great album. I think it was 2013 or so. Like their second album wasn't as good, but it had like a couple good songs on it.
All right.
And that's kind of like where they sort of started to like blow up. So to
Yeah.
speak. They had a song in a video game and stuff. And no, I just what was it this guy on Twitter I follow, a Noisy. He used to write for Noisy,
Okay.
Vice Music.
Yeah.
Named Dan Ozzie. He writes about punk rock. And he did an article about Pup, and I was like, oh, I'll check this out. Because I check out whatever he writes about, because usually it's okay, at least.
Yeah.
And Pup blew me away. And
Fuck yeah.
yeah, this stuff is just, it's a different kind of post-punk, and it's really, really great. It fucking knocked me on my ass.
Fuck yeah.
Right.
Real quick, how's everybody doing on current beer?
I'm out.
We're out,
I'm done.
so are we ready to move on?
Yeah.
James, I'll let you've been dealing, so you pick.
Let's do the can. Let's
do the can.
This is
Surrendering, we're going victory
Oh,
back
man.
to back.
Victory Java Latte
Cold brew
milk
stout, crafted with
8.2%.
one Village Coffee artist blend.
Yeah,
Can I
and
read
if
the
you
ad
read
copy?
on the
Yes,
back,
go for it.
milk, sugar, coffee,
Go for it.
experimental HBC.
It says here, roasty malts, oats, and special ingredients come together in a milk stout that is cold brewed with a bounty of local coffee for 48 hours to serve up as a luscious mix of sweet and robust comfort.
Yeah. Pilsner, Munich, chocolate, roasted barley, oats. Experimental HBC 472. This is the hops that they used.
If it's an imperial stout, this could be rough.
This could be. And
No, it's actually-
what
it's
ABV
pretty
we're
good.
at? We're at 8.2.
8.2. It's pretty good. It's not too bad.
Oh, that is coffee as fuck.
Oh, that is coffee.
See, I love sweet milk stouts like Young's and shit, but
Yeah.
this is
Hey,
More
you
bitter
never
than
have to finish anything. You just will.
Or I will.
Or Zach will. Zach will. All right, so Justin, what would be your number 2 album? I will say I do like this first sip, and also the can looks exactly with the orange banner on the top of it. Looks exactly like the
No,
Starbucks
this is a
coffee
pint
cups.
can, right?
It's a pint can, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so for my second album, it's, I don't know, it was definitely a toss-up. I listened to a lot of heavier stuff, you know what I mean? So Slipknot was within the running,
Okay.
only because it had the feel of older albums, like getting back to their roots, even though they didn't have the same members in. But I went with Amon Amarth for my second.
Oh, it was so good.
Berserker.
Who was talking shit on that to me?
I don't know.
Somebody was.
Someone's talking shit on Berserker?
Yeah,
It's such
it
a
was
great
good.
album. It really is. And I mean, a lot of people, when they listen to it, you know what you're getting into with Amon Amarth. It's very Viking, very Swedish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But, it's a solid album. Listen to it. If you're into heavy stuff.
The whole thing is about Thor, too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
That is very Viking.
Oh, yeah.
Now, when did this came out? Was it summer release earlier? Is it
Spring, I want to say.
Spring?
It was
I was mowing when this came out. I was
You
on
were
the
mowing?
mower.
May 3rd.
Does it feel any? I mean, with that style, is there any like? Is it a seasonal album to you, or is this like an all-the-time album to you? Because certain times
it's seasonal in the sense that most heavy stuff is seasonal.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be listening to the same heavy stuff as I am in the summer as I am in the winter. You know what I mean?
But coming out in May, you listened to it over the summer. Or did you get into it more in the fall?
No, when it came out.
So you're right on top of it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not right on top of it. Maybe a month and a half before
Well,
it
what
actually
the fuck,
sat down.
Justin?
It was
I know.
more of a summery album.
It's
For
their
sure, for
their
them.
music is very it's melodic death metal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it has those moments where it's sort of that marching, droning sound.
Yeah.
You know.
Are there any songs that are stick-out songs for you? Anything, or is it again like one of the complete?
Honestly,
start
that
to
was
finish?
like one of those albums, that I would put on and just
Valkyrie,
listen to
I
it.
think.
Valkyrie is a great song.
Valkyrie is a great song for them.
I do enjoy.
Shield Wall, too.
Shield Wall
I'm
is
so
really
sorry.
good.
Shield
I
Wall,
missed
okay.
who we're talking about.
The new
The new
Amon
Amon
Amarth.
Amarth, Berserker.
Okay, I haven't listened.
Shield Wall is good.
Yeah.
That it's so catchy, almost like a pop song. The hook is almost like a pop song, with it just gets stuck in your head.
Can I do my James O thing where
Yes.
I bring up a random story because
Always.
this band reminds me of something?
Do it.
Summer 2003, I was staying for the weekend over at Topher's house.
Oh, Topher.
Rest in peace, my man.
Love you, brother.
And he was like, "Oh, I gotta work out," because that was his thing. He was bodybuilding back then. I was like,
Bodybuilding
"All right."
vegan.
I was like, because we were going to a show the night before. And
Tarzan
I'm
like
like,
a motherfucker.
I'm like, all right, you work out. I'm gonna take a nap. And so he was like doing his free weights or whatever the fuck. And I'm just laying on his couch. Actually, no, I'm laying in a hammock in his backyard. And he has a
Makes a lot
CD
of
player
sense.
boombox type thing. And he's blasting that Amon Amarth album from 2002. Had like Return of Vikings on it and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's where I first heard that band. And I was like, this shit's cool.
Yeah,
like,
I mean-
like it's
I mean, there are times with other albums, like, I feel like some of their albums are every other album you should be listening to, sort of. Because sometimes it falls into the same drone.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying drone, but I mean, same style. You know what you're getting
when
with
you
Amon
tune low
Amarth.
and chug a lot, it can get very like.
But it's more the journey with their albums than anything, because they're pretty much telling a story through their
Now,
album.
have they progressed in the way of like Opeth? Have they gotten
No,
No,
they
they
put the
have their
same
style.
album out every time.
Yeah.
But it's still it's like
Because I will
really
say,
good.
I have heard this name. I have never sat down and listened to them on my own in any way.
I don't know if you would particularly like Amon Amarth.
Okay.
You may, but I think you would just be like, okay, so when's this album over?
All right,
You're like,
so
it's good,
if
but
there was a sticker like they used to do, I don't know if they still do it, but back in the day, I remember like Victory Records would have a sticker going like for fans of Thrice and Taking Back Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Who would this be for fans of?
raping and pillaging.
Raping and pillaging.
Just
Just the
Viking
Hobbit.
stuff.
Or
black,
the
and it-
Hobbit.
like
the
people that
habits.
are into black metal but want something that's a little less black metal. You know what I mean? Like they're
Gray
melodic.
metal?
No, they're melodic black metal.
Melodic.
Or
black metal.
I'm sorry, death metal. They're melodic death metal.
Okay.
If
Not
you like
black
In
metal.
Flames,
Yes, if you're an In Flames fan, you would probably like Amon
the
Amarth.
guitar acrobatics aren't as pretty, but
I'll say In Flames has some insanely wonderful leads. Like
It might
do.
say
That song,
if,
Swim.
If you like In Flames and Five Finger Death Punch,
Sort of.
it sort of splits that difference.
And
That's an
Keith, you are
insult to
right.
every-
Keith said Amon Amarth's drummer is wild. He is a wild drummer. Yeah.
well, fucking brother over here knowing shit. Oh yeah. What
If
do
you
you
like
say?
killing Christians, listen to Amon Amarth.
Metal Keith.
Yeah, man.
Oh Lord, Keith wants to kill our family. All right, so for my number 2, and again, my 3 and 2 are kind of like a
Drop
2A
that
and
deuce.
2B. My deuce is that Dirty Guy James I was talking about before. Post Malone's album Hollywood's Bleeding.
I was gonna put that
Hollywood's
on my list.
Bleeding.
It is a great album.
Okay, to put it into perspective for me specifically, for about the last 3-4 years, I've had this situation come up multiple times where I'm listening to a song with Zach, generally Zach, maybe Zach and Justin, but generally Zach, and I'll go, oh, this is kind of cool, who is this? And he'll be like, God, this is fucking Post Malone. We've listened to him for the last like 2 years. And I'm just like, okay, I kind of like it. It's not that bad. And it just kept going and going and going. And then this album came out, and I feel like this album, while
way
it
more
is,
indie.
it is such an indie rock album.
It is.
The tones of it are, and maybe it's because I just inherited a fucking record collection of all late 70s into early 80s, like new wave, like weird electronic shit. So I've been listening to a lot more things that I would not be listening to if I hadn't just had this drop in my lap. But it's one of those things where it hit me at the right time. I have very, very little interest in most things current rap that one of the two of you don't show to me and go, this is fucking like boss ass shit. You need to just fucking listen to this. I was told this album was coming out. I heard that he had a song with Ozzy.
Well, Zach had showed me this. He's like, did you hear the song? And I'm like,
and
no.
I think it was kind of the same thing. Zach showed me, and I just went, oh. And immediately, and I hate to give Ozzy more praise right up front than Post Malone, but immediately I went, oh, so Ozzy's brain only works when he's singing.
Yeah,
like it only works when he's singing.
I mean, he will like hobble onto the stage and like someone will have to like hand him a microphone and place it in his hands and point his head
then he's like,
towards the
I
teleprompter on the floor.
Yeah.
But when the fucking song starts, he wakes up and he's a different person.
He's in there.
Like,
and maybe that's kind of one of those things where they say like,
Do you think they keep him in a chamber just playing music the whole time while he's sleeping?
But one of those things
Sharon
where it's like,
does something weird like that.
You got to practice. If you're going to play a show, if you're in a band and you're going to play a show and you're going to be drunk at the show, practice drunk.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to be stoned at the show, practice stoned. If you're going to be sober, practice sober. Don't do one and then all of a sudden get to the show and get shit-faced before the show and fuck it up. I feel like Ozzy was never sober, and now music is the only place. It flipped almost.
80 years.
Where maybe he's not doing drugs now. I don't know if he's doing drugs now. I don't think he is at the age he's at. Like,
I hope not, man. That'd be sad.
I think the only thing that drugs he's taking is whatever is prescribed.
Well, yeah, prescribed things to keep him on the not the straight and narrow because it's Ozzy.
But alive. Just alive.
But keep that. He just turned 70 like last week or in the last couple of days.
Which is crazy because his television show, he looked like he was 70. Mm-hmm. And the way he was moving around, like...
Let's talk about that song. Like I've heard that song a lot on the radio at work. And see, it starts off with Ozzy.
Yes.
It's Ozzy. And he's singing a very modern hook.
See, I
a
really
very similar hook, like I was saying, the Jimmy World thing. And I'm like... Does Ozzy have a fucking pop song? And then I hear what I figured out a few minutes later was Post Malone because I haven't followed the.
Did you hear the Ozzy song though? The new Ozzy song?
No, Ozzy has an album out right now.
Yeah, it came out.
Is it like that too?
It feels like he was
until the music comes in. It feels like Post Malone had his hand in.
I would say
producing.
that whoever was producing the Post Malone album was also producing the Ozzy. It feels like there's a connection there on some level.
The thing that made my brain go, okay, modern hook, is this thing that everyone's doing right now where it's like, word, like you know what I mean? Like, like that. Yeah. That's a very.
I felt you.
Take what you want from me. Take what you want from me. Get what you want.
That sounds. That's 2019 as fuck.
Yeah.
I think it's. I'm sure Post Malone wrote the lit.
Oh,
now,
for sure.
But I will say this. I will say this with that song is that the first time that somebody played it at the bar when I was working at the Cinder, it came on. And I don't know if it was
It was me. I played it.
You played it, and somebody at the bar legitimately thought it was an old Ozzy song until everything else came in.
See, I didn't think that at all.
And but his vocal performance was like all of a sudden not peak
sounds
Ozzy,
like the way Ozzy always has.
but it sounded like 1993 Ozzy. Yeah. Like it sounded like later, but still not not that Ozzy.
Yeah, it's like
my favorite on the
Mad
album,
Men
though-
era Ozzy.
I would say that song is great. That song is a great song, but it's not.
Goodbye is my
It's
favorite
not
on
the
that
best
album.
song. Goodbyes is a fucking amazing song. But if here, let me just pull up the track listing, because it's the last track on the album. I love songs that is the last track? Wow. Oh, maybe I'm thinking of another song. Oh yeah, no. It's the Sunflower. It's the song from Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse.
That is a great
with
song.
Sway Lee. That song's fucking amazing. Like the whole album is honestly fucking great. Die For Me is really good.
And the
which
crazy
has
thing
Future
is,
and Halsey, and
if you're-
Halsey's like my new like lady crush.
off lady?
Oh my
If you're
god,
not into
Halsey's
Post Malone,
amazing.
though, give it a shot. It
It is a great segue into something you probably wouldn't have liked
yeah.
before.
It's almost like City in Color. Like you have
Yep.
metalheads that are like,
Yep.
"Oh, I fucking love City in Color," and it's like, wait, what? And he broke that transition to singer-songwriter from metal to
Yep.
singer-songwriter. You know, I'm not saying that you're going to be a metalhead and
That might be
rocking
the
Post
rarest one
Malone,
of all.
And Post Malone, I just gotta give.
but the indie vibe to it just sets
Yeah.
the album apart.
The
way
tones,
differently.
like, it definitely sounds like someone's playing a fucking DX7, right? DX7? It definitely sounds like a
in
DX7.
that Ozzy
is in there.
song, there's like a guitar lead that straight up sounds like a Zach thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the tone of it, like it sounds fuzzy.
Yeah.
It sounds like Zach playing lead.
I mean, that
Yeah.
was, yeah. I mean,
But
that was
I
probably-
Zach is Zach Wild?
No,
Oh, Zach is me.
Zach is you.
Oh,
Zach is you.
okay.
No. Zach Wild just does the same 3 notes on a string over and over again.
Hey,
For
he
45
poses
minutes.
for
And
a
then there's
good
the
picture at Guitar Center.
45 minutes.
I feel like that's the only
45
way
minutes
that I
solo
know him.
when you go see him live.
45 minutes
He's
slow,
a
really.
fucking
Yeah,
douchebag.
like
Oh my
you're,
God.
you're
I hate him
forced to
probably
watch
as much
solos.
as I hate the finish on his guitar.
yeah.
That fucking
The bullseye thing.
bullseye
Yeah.
thing. All right, Zach, what is your number 2?
Infest the Rat's Nest
Ooh.
by King Gizzard and
Yeah.
the Lizard
great
Wizard.
album.
That's not number 1 for you. I am shocked. All right.
Oh wow.
I'm happy it's not number 1 because now I don't know what number 1 for you is. So, for the people that don't know, King
Zach is
Gizzard,
wild, Keith says.
Zach is
I am
wild, and he spelt it properly.
No, it's I have a she is a K.
Oh no! I was saying the wild part.
Oh.
Zach has an H. Correct
Get it right,
yourself.
Keith. God damn
Correct
it.
yourself.
How many times do we have to tell you?
Keith Moucha. What kind of name is that? So
Gypsy.
for people that are not aware of them, just
They're the greatest band of all time.
of all time.
The show was really rad. It's a really great album.
Did that start our Australian obsession? Do you think,
No,
or
I
was
think
that
the
No,
chaps.
separate and then the chaps? Yeah.
I've been into
Chats.
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 The chats, sorry.
I've been to Australian
chaps.
music for a long time.
Yeah.
This is just another. But this is my favorite. One of my favorite bands of all time.
Yeah.
This was their 15th
Zach is
album,
wild.
and it's the second album of 2019.
Of 2019.
Fishing for Fishies came out early,
And
this
that
came
one I
out-
loved. That one was so
Oh, I
fun.
loved it, too.
It was so
The
good.
cool
But
thing
Infest the
about-
Rat's Nest was just so.
Well, it's
good.
very Motorhead, thrashy feel.
That's cool.
Fun, fast. Almost reminds me of like some old Metallica as well. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like just
definitely.
has that
But the
feel.
album before that was a Boogie Woogie album.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And they've had albums that sound like the Beatles
Yep.
ish, like
And they've been
softer.
like 7-8 years they've been making music, and they've released 15 albums.
15
Yeah.
albums.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's absurd. They're
it's,
crazy.
and it's all psychedelic at the heart of it.
What are the singles off of this album that are the go-to that you would shout to people?
Oh,
like,
Planet
listen to
B,
this.
dude.
Planet B. Yeah.
All right.
Go listen to that. song.
Planet B. It's just that's what they opened with at the show.
What was what's the one where they're setting him on? Yeah,
Self-immolate.
self-immolate. Yep.
That shit is just for no one was expecting this. The last album, like I said, was a Boogie Woogie album.
Yeah.
They've done harder stuff and softer stuff, but this is the
They
heaviest
did
album they ever did.
Polygon
Polygon Wonderland.
Yeah.
Polygon of Wonderland. Yeah.
We listened to that the other day.
Yeah, it was fucking
We
great.
listened to the sketches of Brunswick East the other day, their jazz album.
Yeah.
Yep.
They have done all kinds of shit, but this
But
one.
if you've
is
never
short,
seen
it's
them, though-
sweet and it's to the point.
If you've never seen them, they usually rock two drummers. When you see them live, the drummers are literally playing nonstop, even when nobody else is playing.
They're just going.
Just going.
They have the
all
best
time,
harmonica
dude.
player of any band ever. I will say it. He is the greatest harmonica player I've ever
Better than
heard.
Better than what's his
Popper?
name?
Yeah, it makes Popper look
John-
like a
John
fat,
Popper.
I'm glad that you knew what I
fat,
said. What's his name?
Shape motherfucker.
John Bonham? No.
But he's a better
John
harmonica
Bonham.
player than John Bonham.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's a better. Yeah, probably.
I'll take
I
it.
never heard John Bonham play harmonica.
me neither.
I think what's his face played harmonica. Plant played harmonica in the
Probably.
band.
Yeah.
Probably, most likely. Now, in the same question that I asked Justin before, if there was a sticker on this album that said "for fans of," who would you think? What other things would you relate it to?
Motorhead.
Okay.
Yeah.
For fans of Motorhead and Pink Floyd,
Okay.
if those are your two favorite bands, then this is your favorite album of
Yeah.
all time.
And they're one of those bands that when I get into conversations, because working at the Cinder, I mean, we've made a lot of improvements, but at our heart, we are a dive bar, and our clientele are people that want to go to a dive bar. And I get into the argument / conversation / really an argument almost every day I work with some dude 60 plus about how music's done, music's dead, no new music's coming out, blah, blah, blah. And when I go, what do you like? And someone starts listing anything like 70s rock, prog rock, anything along those lines, I have told them, I'm like, well, listen, like literally just search King Gizzard.
Yeah.
Like that's the easiest, or Wizard Lizard, whatever part you remember. Search it.
I mean, it's a pretty memorable name. It's
It-
very
it
long.
is.
King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
It only is matched by Tony Danza and the Tap Dancing Extravaganza.
Yeah.
Like that's literally the only name that comes
Are
close
they still a
to
band?
it. I don't know.
No.
I don't think so. But
I
they,
remember finding that band on, what was that site? HXC MP3, hardcoremp3.com, back in like 2003.
Yep.
Hardcore, bro.
How's more
And,
HXC JPEG, hardcore porn JPEGs?
Yeah, bro.
And
Hardcore, bro.
yeah, it was that goofy band name, and this was before they had like the MySpace page and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
And their MySpace page got them on. Remember when Tony Danza had a more like a daytime talk?
Yeah.
Yes.
He got them. He got them.
No, or he played like their song.
Yeah,
and,
no, but like he like got a hold of them. I remember there was a show where Slightly Askew, which is a local ska band from back in the day,
Oh yeah.
and they were playing either in the same town or they were playing the same show or a festival as them.
That's ridiculous.
And they had, I remember Skip was telling me, he goes, we had like a, can we trade band names with you? Like your band name is a ska band name.
Well,
like why?
Yeah, exactly. And
Like,
they had song titles like "Everybody Wins with the Olsen Twins"
yeah.
or whatever.
Well, yeah,
And
Slightly
that was,
Askew.
like,
Yeah. Well, that song was actually called Up Her Alley.
Oh, that was the thing. Okay, I just remember that hook.
Everybody wins.
Everybody wins with the Olsen
Olsen.
twins. The
I had
Olsen
it,
twins.
And then it
Slightly
turns
Askew
into more than a
t-shirt.
feeling.
Jeez, yeah.
It's just
And it turns into the
They do a bunch of shit
everything.
over the
Best
same
part of
chord.
waking up is Folgers in your cup is
Yeah,
in there.
yeah.
Like literally everything was in that fucking song.
I heard that on like the college radio station one day when I was driving, and I had to pull over. I was like, "This is killing me."
It was so good.
How
It
fucking
was so
funny
good.
this is.
Little girl down the street. Whoa, kind of girl I'd like to meet. Oh, do 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 do. What's up her alley? Oh, baby, I love the way. Comma, camellia.
Yeah, it was just like
Every-
spazzy, it's like
It was what they
Not
closed
Swiss.
with every single week. It was amazing. It was amazing. All right, so I guess we're getting into our number ones right now. Our number ones, our urines, our
Are
urine
we?
picks.
Well, since this is the last
I don't know.
one, should we
I'm
open another
definitely
beer?
not needing to finish that one
I'm
right
going
now.
to, yeah, I'm going to have to
So
slip
let's
on
jump-
that.
This is the worst coffee beer I've had.
Really?
You don't like
I
it?
don't think
nuts
it's the
about
worst.
You know what? I've
coffee
had way
beer
worse
I've
than
had.
this.
I've had worse
Justin,
It's
coffee
not
you open a
coffee
beer?
enough for me.
Oh, it's definitely coffee.
It's not coffee enough for me.
The name of Zach's new album. It's not
Not
coffee,
coffee
enough for me. Actually,
It
that should
never
be.
got coffee enough for me. Hunter S. Coffee.
Shouldn't that be my
S
album?
coffee. That's your new
I'm
EP,
saying.
Hunter S. It's coffee shop music by Zach called Hunter S. Coffee, and all the lyrics are about being a
Winter
fucking
cheers. with
junkie
victory.
fuck,
All
shooting
right.
guns in the
yeah,
desert.
back to
a
back.
hazy
Seasonal
wheat ale.
favorite winter cheers.
6.7%. I'm gonna die.
6.7. All right, any right up here, James?
Okay, a toast to unfiltered holidays. Oh boy. Heaps
should
of
we
citra
roll this
hops and
first?
special ingredients come together with German yeast to create luscious notes of citrusy fruit and holiday spice in this delicious toast to unfiltered holidays.
There is a good amount of sediment at the bottom. We should have rolled these before we opened them.
Damn.
I've got a little bit
Well,
on mine.
you know what you do?
Not crazy. You just chug it straight back. Oh no, I just go like this.
Just chug it, Kyle.
I feel like this is being affected by the coffee taste in my mouth.
Ooh,
That is the lightest that we've had.
Yeah, that's.
that is sweet.
This is the easiest beer to
Yeah,
drink that
that's
we've
that-
had
yeah.
tonight.
I think it was a good idea going with one of these last after that chocolatey coffee goodness. Yes.
All right, so my number one album of the year was from a Philadelphia punk band called Mannequin Pussy.
Ooh.
Mikey Martino was
I've
actually just
never
talking about
listened to
them.
them.
How he was like
Mannequin
really
Pussy's
into.
great. They're at least fronted by a lady, and pretty sure she writes all the songs and the lyrics, and it is lyrically one of the best things I've heard in a long time. I mean, confrontational, fearless, in-your-face lyrics about all kinds of things from a woman's perspective, especially things like domestic and sexual abuse.
Damn.
Also, the ladies' side of getting drunk and texting your ex and hating yourself for it.
I'll say you definitely get a lot of dudes
Dudes that-
writing
yeah,
songs
exactly.
like
Yeah.
that. You don't get the other side
this-
of it.
But the other side, I mean, it's not really much difference. It's like, I hate myself because I love you and I'm drunk and we broke up anyway, but I'm going to text
Yeah.
you because I'm lonely. I hate myself for this, like that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Rich also agrees. He says it's 100%. Or 100% agree. 100% agree.
Yeah,
the new Mannequin Pussy
it's
is
called
amazing.
Patience, by the way. The album's called Patience, and it's there are songs that fucking roar. I mean, really, just like in your fucking face, screaming like punk, like driving songs.
Yeah.
And then there's some that are really like tender and dark, and the lyrics are like they haunt you. Like that's how clever they are. They're poetic. They rhyme in clever ways, and they get their fucking claws into you, and they stay. They have song titles like "Drunk 1" and "Drunk 2." Song "Cream" is really great. And
The song is called Cream, or Cream is really great?
no, the song's called "Cream."
Okay. I was like, Cream is really great would be a fun name for a song.
And
If it's
the
just
one that
all
really
about cream.
like kind of blew my mind, stuck with me, is a song called "Fear and Desire." What is it? Okay.
Sorry.
It's about that's the one that's about like abuse, and it's really like I don't know, like it'll stop you in your tracks whenever or wherever you hear it, and you'll be like, "You okay there, Kyle?"
Yeah, I'm just burning my fucking body.
Just dropping
apart.
a live cigarette on your lap like an idiot.
Yep. It's just on fire. We're good.
I would say it's my favorite new album of the year and one of the best punk albums I've heard in forever, and it just like it really, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for, like it stopped me in my tracks and made me listen in a way I don't normally listen to music.
Okay.
I'm like, fuck, this girl's got something to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way she says it is really clever, really smart. Also, again, with this kind of like self-loathing thing, but with like a wink to it. You know,
Yeah.
like it's clever enough to where it's not just like this boring, like, oh, everyone hates themselves, shut up. It's
Yeah.
more like,
Yeah.
oh, you express it in this really clever way that I can relate to. And
You know, the other day I was trying to describe something to Zach when we were working on some bass tracks for my upcoming album, and I was talking about there was a guy named Painter Dave that used to work at Pokemon back in the day when I worked there, and he was an artist. He was the guy who just painted all of the rooms, like he was the guy that did all the touch-ups and everything. But he was a poet. He was an artist. Like he did music and stuff. And I was writing a lot, like trying to write screenplays, poetry, everything. I'm 18 at this point. And I remember whenever I was working, he would come up and he would literally just kind of rudely take the thing out of my fucking hand and just be like, "What are you working on today?" And just like read through it. And he would give me pointers. And I can never remember the exact phrase that he said, but the idea of what he said that kind of stuck with me for forever. He read one thing that I wrote, and it was just like depressing and self-deprecating and just dark and just like a bad space, bad mental place song or poem. And he went, "If you write in black on a black piece of paper in a black room with blacked out windows, nobody gives a shit, nobody's going to see it. It can't just all be black, man."
Yeah.
And just walked away. And I was just like, oh, there's got to be something else to it. There's got to be more flavor. You can be self-deprecating and you can be like mad at yourself and upset with yourself, but either the humor or the silver lining has to be there.
Look at like the Mountain Goats, right?
Love it.
Songs about all kinds of the
They
darkest
had an
things.
album out this year too.
No, it was last year.
Was it last year?
Yeah,
Okay, that might be
trust me,
why.
I checked.
That might be why I didn't put it in there.
A lot of their songs are about literally the worst things a human being can go through.
Yeah.
Everything from child abuse to
Divorce, No Children is
yeah,
one of the greatest songs.
I mean, hating the person you're in love with,
Yep.
all that stuff. Like, but if they're jaunty enough,
Yeah.
boy, does that stick with you.
Yep.
Or like the song This Year, their biggest song, right?
Yeah.
It's a song about like trying to escape your shitty home life, getting drunk, hanging out with a girl, stealing a kiss,
Yeah.
and then coming home to the consequences. And it's like a kind of a dark song, but it's so jaunty and upbeat and catchy. It's like it's easy to lose that, but it's
To
what
go off
sticks
on
with
that
people.
really quickly, did you see the Stephen Colbert
Yeah.
where he came on stage and
Yeah,
like
that
sang
was
along
awesome.
with him? It was the most excited I've
I
ever
would
seen.
pay $1
Where
million
anybody-
American dollars to be the one that jumps on the
I
stage with the Mountain
know
Goats
that'd be
and sings
so
This
great.
Year with
What we
John
got with
Daniel.
Keith?
He says you got to roll out of here. See y'all next week. Get
See you next week in person.
listening. Oh yeah, hell yeah,
yeah,
dude.
See you
Keith
in
will be
person
home.
next
yeah,
week.
dude.
I hope to see you, Keith.
He'll be here for 2 weeks. He's staying at my house for 5 days. You'll
Oh,
definitely
okay,
see him.
yeah, I'll be over.
You'll
yeah.
definitely see him. All right, so Justin, what would be your number one album?
Well, it's also an Australian band,
Oh,
and it's very close to lumping in Fishing for Fishies and Infested Rat's Nest, but I listened to this album for a long time, and when I first heard the single, I just had to go back to the discography of the band. And I don't know, it's just a very indie, mellow, sort of weird vibed album, but Dope Lemon.
oh
The name of the album is Smooth Big Cat.
I read that name a lot this year.
Hey You was the first song that I had heard. Never saw anything by them, and it's just such a weird video of like a high school dance where everybody's dressed up in like fucking cat outfits or some shit.
Okay.
And then Salt and Pepper had come out, and Dope and Smoke, Give Me Honey, and it was just like every time I turned on YouTube, it was like another song, and I was just getting further and further and further into this band. And I don't actually, I'm assuming, I don't know much, like I haven't really researched a lot on it, but I'm assuming it's a full band, but I think the dude, the main singer, has written a lot of the stuff. And
Okay.
as time has gone on, it's like different people within the bands. But going back and looking at the discography or just singles and tracks, like there's a lot of shit. that
Now, are
put
they
out.
in the same vein as King Gizzard in any way? On any of the King Gizzard?
It's psychedelic.
It's
Yeah.
very psychedelic. Yeah, I mean, I want to say it's more along the lines of like, what is that? The porn crumpets or whatever.
Psychedelic porn
crumpets.
Yeah, okay.
Like sort
All
of in that vein, sort of like a mix between
Forget
like,
about that band from time to time.
sort of mix between that King Gizzard and Tame Impala, sort of.
All right.
You know what I
Hell
mean?
yeah.
So, but it's not really heavy. It's very more so mellow, dancey.
Yeah.
I had something to say. You were talking about like how you got into them, right? Like,
Yes.
or
Yeah.
like the rabbit hole. It was like a YouTube thing. You said.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember when things were a little bit different back in the day, like 2001, 2-ish, 3-ish.
When you accidentally downloaded something on Kazaa or
No,
Morpheus.
no, or like you would
Bear Share.
no one used.
I used
You're the only
BearShare.
one that.
I didn't use Bear Share.
I used
I
BearShare.
never
Bear
used
Share
it.
sounds like a
I
different.
used
I've never
LimeWire.
used
I was a
Bear Share.
LimeWire
I was just
guy.
trying to send
I used
pictures of
Kazaa
my
and then later
chest
Soulshake,
and
but
my
anyway.
big belly to other
The
bears.
thing was like you would get one song, you would try like one or two songs because you heard a band was good or whatever,
Yeah.
right? And you listen to them and be like, oh fuck. And especially if you still had a dial up,
Yeah, you get
you would
one song
you would
to
queue
try.
a download
Yep.
for like the next thing, and you would hope it's good. And if
For
it
the
was,
next
you'd be like,
week for it to get downloaded.
no, like you, I mean, like for a few hours, and then like you come back to it, and oh man, and like your plunge into a band was a lot slower and like, a little more incremental, and I think that made things mean a little bit more because to this
Oh,
day,
definitely.
my favorite shit ever is the stuff like, for the
that
most
you
part,
had a
found
dig
back
for.
then. Like I love Cave In, maybe my favorite band of all time, especially with how varied their career got.
Yeah.
I downloaded 2 Cave-In songs because they had a little blurb in like a guitar magazine or
Okay.
something, right? This is like right when Antenna came out, 2003. And so I listened to a couple of Cave-In songs, and then I downloaded a couple more. I'm like, this band's had some career, huh? Because I went to their website. I only had their old metalcore stuff on my computer. Then I went to their website, and this is when Antenna came out, so they had like the song Anchor, like the video on
Yep.
their website. And I'm like, sounds like the Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what I'm hearing when I download it sounds like Converge. What is happening here? Like, is this? Am I sure this is the same band?
Well, when we did the episode of the first run of our podcast, when we did the episode at Richard's house, when we were at 112, and we did the comparison of, or the I picked Piebald and he picked Cave-In, it was picked
Fitting.
because they did come from the same scene. They split their first releases together, and I listened to Cave-In, not knowing them at all, from the beginning. And Antenna is where I dropped off. That was where I went, oh, this isn't the same band anymore. And everybody else that like loves bands like, no, you're a moron. That's where they just like upped the stakes, and
Their
they just
pop
got
game,
better.
yeah, like-
but they just got like different, and they just kept
but
improving.
what's funny is after
and then
that,
they have an album that they go right back to the old sound right after
Rich
that
just
almost.
said
This shit's all over the
that
place.
he'd just wait for your mix CDs.
yeah, like, I used to make. Let's see. Here's the thing. Whenever Rich and I and Chris would go to a show together, especially in Wilkes-Barre, I would make a mix CD for that day. I would date it and give it a really inappropriate name, and as you can imagine, teenage me would. And it would be like our soundtrack to and back from the show. That's usually the duration of the CD, how long it would take
Yeah.
to play it all out. And yeah, I would always put like stuff no one like because I nerded out. Surprise, surprise! I nerded out over literally everything. Back then, I was like, okay, not just like this band from this label. We like. I'm gonna investigate everything.
Yeah.
And if I find even one good song by a band, even if I don't like them, if the song's good,
Yeah.
I'll throw it on this mix CD, and we'd listen to it on the way to and from a show. And when we go see like Dead to Fall or whatever, like I was showing them like the newest Unearth and stuff like that, or Cave-In or Strife or bands like that. And
Strife, holy shit.
Yeah.
I would try to like really mix it up all
Yeah.
over the fucking place.
Yeah.
And Cave-In was one of those things we all just kind of bonded over. Like, wow, this is really fucking good.
Fuck yeah. So we got Justin's number one, right?
Yeah, Dope Lemon.
Yeah, Dope Lemon. There we
Dope
go.
Lemon.
Would you say there's any standout individual songs on there, or is it another straight?
Like I said, Hey You, Salt and,
All right,
Salt and
hey,
Pepper.
yeah, Salt and Pepper. There, you did say that, yeah.
And Smoking, I forget the name of it. Smoking Blow, I think, maybe. I
Okay.
don't remember.
Smoke and blow. Yeah.
All right, for my number one album of the year, I had pretty much no problem picking it. It is the only new release that I bought on vinyl, I think, this year. And I listened to it about like 5 times once I brought it home. It was fucking amazing. It is Sound and Fury by Sturgill Simpson.
Okay.
Sturgill Simpson is
God with the 2 country picks.
Yeah.
dude. He is
Country Fried Kyle.
He is country. He is a country guy. I'm not gonna give any fucking. There's no qualms about saying that. But this album is anything but just a country album. He recorded the whole entire thing about like 3 years ago. Was pretty much done with it. Had been mixing it, mastering it, and going over it. And he said it was driving himself insane.
Yeah.
How much he was working on this album. And then he said he wanted to do a music video. And he wanted to get some like anime style.
I remember this. I still have to watch this.
And then
It's on Netflix?
It's on Netflix. He wound up getting in contact with a buddy of his and was like, listen, like, you know, he's in Japan. He's like, you know, listen, like, I would like to do a style or an anime music video for this one song, and I think that I want to do it in the style of these artists. And he lists a bunch of, you know, like prominent people from the anime world. And his buddy went, do you want to do it in their style, or do you just want them to do it? And it was like, what? And he goes, well, I mean, like, they still all work. We could just have them do it. And after his buddy listened to the album, they fleshed out the idea. He went, what if we just did the whole album as a movie?
Yeah.
Didn't Linkin Park do something?
I wouldn't be
Probably.
Back in
surprised.
the day.
I wouldn't be surprised. So basically, he held his album on the shelf for another year. He let it sit on the shelf for another year after he was done painstakingly going over it and perfecting it, because it's a vast departure from his previous music.
Right.
But he got a whole movie. It's 47 minutes or whatever it is, but he got a whole anime movie made.
It's crazy.
And released on Netflix to go along with the release of his album. So I thought, marketing-wise, you're a genius right there. I definitely found out about him years ago. Turtles on the Way Down, I think is the...
Turtles All the Way Down.
Turtles All the Way Down, there you go. Was like kind of like the big single of his back
You know what
a
that
couple
means,
years
right?
ago. Turtles All the Way... I don't know.
It's like the theory that the world is carried on the back of a turtle.
Okay. It is going off that old ancient theory.
But that
I love that.
turtle
That we're
that's
floating
carrying
through
the
space on a
world
turtle.
is on
Yeah.
top of another turtle, and that turtle's on top of a bigger turtle. And
All
it's
the way
turtles
down.
all the way down.
Because I heard that and I was like, this is a good song. And then I watched the music video and I listened to the lyrics a little bit more. Didn't understand that that's what it was about. But I went, this guy is like way trippier in mindset than any other person in country music right now. He isn't pigeonholing himself into being a country artist at all. And right off the bat, the opening track is all instrumental. It is. I think
Yeah, I
the opening
remember the
track's
day
called
that
Ronin.
you got it. You were like, you need to listen to this, and you made.
It is-
You were playing it on your phone because I couldn't connect it to my car.
Yes.
And we're at the gas station, just like sitting there before I walked in to get gas, and it's just like blasting on your phone.
Dude, it
It's
is
so good.
It is noisy. It is
And
heavy.
I just like that it
is
ends.
country
Like
metal.
it just ends.
Every song just has an abrupt end to it. Like it is very. It is as in your face and loud as something that could be categorized as country that I've ever heard in my entire life. So if I'm gonna recommend this to anybody, I'm gonna recommend it to everybody. But if you like heavier rock, whatever your genre, your subgenre that you like to go towards is, if you like heavy rock and if you like singer-songwriter stuff, this is like, I hope he just keeps building off of this with his career. I heard about this album specifically when he was on the Rogan podcast and he was promoting it. The guy
I do have to watch the Netflix thing. I really do.
It's amazing. The Netflix,
And the only reason
and
that
you're
I
listening
totally
to the album
forgot
all at the
about
same
it.
time.
Kyle,
Except
are
for
you a
that day.
weeaboo now?
What's a weeaboo?
an anime, like somebody that's totally absorbed with the anime.
Oh no, I don't like anime really much at all. I just like the album, and so I watched.
You just
the
like country,
movie.
country cow.
I'm country
Country
Kyle.
Fried Cow.
Country cow.
Yeah,
Kentucky Fried Cow.
I love it. I love it.
Pennsylvania Fried
But
Cow.
I recommend it to anybody that just wants to hear something that's heavy, loud, fuzzy, kind of in your face, but then lyrically and melodically, it's kind of subdued. It's like he took a back seat to the band in this. This sounds like a band effort because it is.
Sure.
He has a full band.
Yep.
It's just, maybe unfortunately, if you want to call it that, it's unfortunately under a solo artist name. If this was just listed, if they had their own, if they were just called the fucking, if they were just called Sturgill,
Right.
and you didn't know it was Sturgill Simpson, and they were just Sturgill, and there was a new band, a new album coming out, this album would be just as popular as it is being a Sturgill Simpson album. And then the other thing I love about it is alienating people. And I feel like that's almost on purpose on his side. It is alienating people that probably like him for being on the country pop charts.
Okay. What? Wait, was he on the charts? Like, was he that big of a deal?
Yeah. Well, the song we were talking about when he stepped out is called "Turtles All the Way Down." That was like a big song. Like it came out and it hit. He's had a lot of good singer-songwriter efforts in the past. But this is a band effort. We went into the studio with an idea. He is completely the creative control of it all. But they went into the studio with an idea, and the whole band put their effort forward. And you can, and that was the wonderful thing when he did Rogan. He brought the whole band on with him, because it isn't just him anymore. It isn't just him anymore. Just playing songs and singing what he wants. It's him in control, but then utilizing and tapping certain people to come step forward and take the spotlight, because There's some solos on this album that, like, again, the opening track is just straight shredding. There's no vocals.
Yeah.
It's just all instrumental, and it was honestly like an uplifting thing to hear it, because I was like, oh, you could have just tried to be Garth Brooks. You could have gone the complete other way and just cleaned up and become Blake Shelton about it all. You didn't do that. You went completely in the way that you wanted to go.
Right.
And now you've got the right people around you, the right band around you, and the right amount of support from your core fan base that you can take a chance and experiment. And I hope that, I don't know financially or critically how it did, but I hope it did well enough that he is on that path, because the future of, he's basically the future of rebel country, because he's rebelling against country while being a country artist.
True.
Well,
Everybody else
country's
rebel.
become so shit. Like it's
all dance pop.
It's bro country. Like they do the worst rapping ever with the worst
Wheeler
lyrics imaginable.
Wheeler Walker
depends.
Jr. did an interview and he openly mocked everything in country, saying 20 years ago everybody fucking hated hip hop and everything like that, and now everybody's just writing hip hop and it's country.
Country is desperately clawing at like hip hop.
Well,
most
country is more hip hop than hip hop is.
Yep, it's true.
And the thing is, like lyrically, it's really not much different. It's it's this very
It's the same shit. It's the same.
it's just
thing.
very
Exactly the
lazy
same.
kind of like
It's all
listing
blues
things.
based. It's all blues based.
I mean,
even with
not
country
even like
and fucking
not even it being
rap,
blues based.
man.
It's more just like here's some things that identify
Well,
my
yeah,
culture. And
Yes,
I'm just gonna
yeah,
list them.
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
so boring.
Yeah, every
and
song
fucking
is just modern hip hop and
It's a
modern
list.
country is
four-wheel
just a
driving,
list.
mud on my boots.
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck out.
Yep.
It's so fucking dumb.
Which I'm loving the crossover musically between hip hop and country with the no.
When they
The-
do the two-step.
Yeah, the
then
two-step, like all that stuff.
by
I
boogie.
fucking love it.
Dude, I
because
like that. I
It
like
makes
that.
sense that would happen, but I like the things that are coming from the hip hop taking the country more than I like the country trying to take the hip hop.
Yeah.
Like I'm enjoying that more
You
on
can't
that
forget
side.
about hip hop.
Well, hip hop. Yeah, I mean you should
Cop
forget
hop.
about hip hop and cock hop.
Cock hop.
All right,
Cop hop.
cop
Cop!
hop.
Remember
All
we
right.
talked about this
Yeah,
earlier?
I know.
Pro police
Yeah,
hip hop?
pro police hip hop. Yeah.
Protect
All
the
right.
powers that be.
Fuck that.
Don't fight. All right, Zach.
Submit to the police.
What is your album of the year?
I'm glad I'm
choice?
going last because this is the greatest album of the year.
Wow.
It came out January 25th. And the day it came out, I said to you and Justin, I said, this is the greatest album that's come out this year. I'm saying it now until in January.
You said it 25 days in, and you're saying
And
it
I'm saying it again
320,
I'm on.
whatever.
by Bring Me the Horizon.
All right.
I thought you were gonna say that. Yeah.
It is so fucking good.
I mean,
They have totally switched from what they were.
Yeah.
And I love bands that can change, but bands that are good. So you could have a band change their style and be like, oh, well, that band was good at what they used to do, but they're not good at this new thing.
It's the type of band that is creatively still creating because they weren't done
Bring Me
with
the
what they were
Horizon
doing.
is so full of creativity, even though they have stepped away from what originally blew them up. The whole
What was the scene that they came out?
metalcore.
Metalcore, yeah,
Metalcore
for
was
sure.
They were
Yeah.
a very like
Yeah.
forgettable, hateable metalcore.
Because I remember just hearing that name all the
Well, you
time
see,
and mocking it.
They came up in like that wave of like really hateable bands. It was like them and like Black Veil Brides and like all
Oh
this garbage.
shit! Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I hated that shit.
Yeah.
But like Zach played me some stuff. I'm like, it's not something I would like
Well,
put
also
on purpose.
they are
but
from
like,
the UK.
but like Zach loves it and he has
Ritz.
this energy for it. And he showed it to me. I'm like, okay, on some level,
The
I
new
can kind
album
of dig it.
is electric. It's dancey.
Yeah,
There
it's
is-
very
Doesn't
much the
sound
scene
like
in
Bring
the
Me
UK.
the Horizon.
It's not metal anymore. They
Yeah,
even
at
have a
all,
song
like-
called Heavy Metal, which features Rakim, the human, not Rakim, what the fuck is his name? The human beatboxer, the dude that beatboxes in the boots.
I don't know his name.
Oh, what the fuck is his name? I can't remember. Anyway, Rozelle, the human beatbox, the guy who beatboxes for the Roots.
Yeah.
He's on a song called Heavy Metal, and the lyrics at one point are because a kid on the gram in a Black Dahlia tee said this ain't heavy metal.
That's awesome.
The album basically references them coming and not necessarily being a heavy metal band anymore.
I mean, that's a
And it
big
talks about the
transition for
haters.
fans.
You know,
though.
a kid on Instagram in a Black Dahlia Murder T-shirt says this ain't heavy metal.
But I mean, you have to
But
to
it
figure
is,
you have to
still.
figure those people are going through the phases of like, think about when Metallica put out the Black Album. This isn't fucking heavy metal. This isn't the Metallica
It's
I know.
heavy rock.
You know what I mean?
But
Like,
it is. But dude, this album, while it's not,
but it has
it's
heavy
not metalcore.
It has heavy
it
overtones.
is so even the song with Grimes is so fucking nihilist blues. It is so heavy without being heavy metal. You know what I mean? It is such a fucking and it means love. Amo.
Okay.
Whatever language that is, but in a lot of it, like amore.
I would say it makes
amore
that same
in-
root
in
words. It's
Italian
the
or whatever,
etymology,
yeah.
amore,
So you know what I
all
mean?
that.
It's
Yeah.
like to love, and so the
amore.
whole,
I mean,
the
you have
whole
to
album
figure-
is about like, you know what I mean, different aspects of love.
Yeah.
But and it could, you know, at a point in the album, it is, I love heavy metal, but sometimes I don't want to listen to some brutal shit right now. But I still want heaviness, and they brought all the heaviness that they could in a more, less heavy.
I mean, I think a better
format.
description would be, I mean, it's heavy in the sense that it's very dark. There's a lot of dark undertones to the sound that's going on.
Yeah.
And also, you have to give them a lot of credit for being a UK band, still breaking through the US market as big as they do, going from a metal band to something that's more appropriated towards UK culture. Like, there are dance clubs that don't start until like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Jesus.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so living in that life is way different than shit that goes on here. You know what I mean? Like,
I hear you.
It was from the day it came out, though. I called it and I said it. This is my album of the year. I've listened to it over and over and over again. It is so fucking good, and it's alienating on some of the more metalcore dudes. But you know what? I love a band that can
grow.
Yeah. Some of my favorite bands of all time were bands that, like Thursday.
Yeah.
Like bands
That's why I
that
love
came
Deftones
from
so
some.
much.
Deftones is another one.
that's why I love them so much. They're not afraid to
Their newer
experiment.
stuff doesn't sound anything like the old stuff, but you could hear it and be like, "That's still that band." You hear the new Bring Me the Horizon, you're like, "That's still Ollie. That's still the Boys. They're still doing what they did on the first album." It's a different genre. It's a different style completely.
Have you ever thought that
but
they
that's
need to
still
change
them.
their name because they've changed so much, or do you just appreciate that
No,
they're sticking?
I like that. I like that "fuck you" thing.
Yeah.
That's like, well, that's what we do with our band. You know what I mean? Our band is spans every genre imaginable.
Yep.
And we, a cool thing is like, hey, I make music. I am not a metal musician. I am not a funk musician.
Don't pigeonhole
I am not a
yourself
hip
into
hop
something.
producer.
Yeah.
I am just a guy who makes music, and that music could be any genre imaginable.
Hell
And
yeah.
that's what Bring Me the Horizon did this year.
It almost sort of
ABBA.
reminds me of Funeral for a Friend. Like, they eventually not. It's a very bad comparison. I'm not comparing the two bands, but I'm saying going from a like metalcore
I
to
only
a
know,
very
like,
rocky.
2003 Funeral for a Friend. Was the only Funeral for a Friend.
Well, I mean, or even like, there's a lot of bands that started out as like black metal bands that ended up. What's the band? I can't think off the top of my head, but there's a lot of like second wave black metal bands that 10 years into their career with enough success, they're like, well, like, we really just want to make music for garden parties now. And they did that. You know what I mean? And if you can do it well, if you can change genres and still
You'll still have a fan base,
be a good band
Be yourselves.
and be yourselves.
Yeah, not chasing a genre, choosing a genre.
Yes, exactly.
exactly.
Yeah, that
Because
was
the
something.
chasing a genre thing has killed so many bands.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude.
And the worst is when they're chasing their own genre 20 years later.
Yeah.
Like, that is the worst of it for sure. Oh. Zach's got to pop the seal again, and I gotta be honest. I'm getting close there as well, but I'm the person that's not allowed to pee during the show.
I
so
can't get up either, my friend.
because I don't shut up. If I leave, I'm shutting up.
Yeah.
So also we're at like 2 hours and 6 minutes.
Real
already
quick, can I just throw out 2 honorable mentions?
Honorable mentions. Let's go.
The new Silver Sun and the new Strung Out.
All right.
New Silverstone, they played a lot of that live when I went back and listened to it. That was a great show we all went to. I think all three of us were there.
I'm
right?
upset that I missed it, but
Oh, that's right. Zach was there.
I
Yeah.
had
there,
family
yeah.
shit to take care
Boy,
of that day. I was really
I fucked
pissed.
up that night.
Yeah, no, it was a good show. Not as fucked up as Zach was.
Yeah.
Zach was on a different level.
I almost had to make sure he had a babysitter when I left.
Yeah.
What was the other one?
Strung Out.
I did not.
Wait, the punk band Strung Out?
Yeah.
Oh
Put
shit.
out a new album.
Dude, I was gonna make a list of like, hey,
I love that
I
band.
bet you
People hate
didn't-
them, but
I was gonna make a list of like, hey, I bet you didn't realize that this band put out an album
Yeah.
this year because I saw
Let's
a
see,
bunch.
Mountain Goats put out an album this year.
well, we were
didn't.
also talking about
No, we already
Beirut
said
put out
this.
an
yeah,
album.
fucking Fat Mike as Cokie the Clown put out an album this year.
Damn, I did not know that.
Yep.
Well, are we talking about runner-ups? Because I got a bunch
Bad,
of
just
Bad
runner-ups.
Religion
quick
put out an
honorable
album
mentions.
this year.
Yeah.
Tool put out an album
Tool
this
put
year?
out an album this year.
That was amazing.
The Menzingers put an album this
Yeah.
year.
I was gonna say the Menzingers is the one
Yeah.
that I'm surprised was not on your list. I have not had
The
enough
thing is, like,
time
the first
listening
half
to
of
it.
it's really great. The
Yeah.
second half is very average.
Very average.
Cursive
All right.
put out an album this
Did
year.
not know that.
Yeah. I remember listening to a couple tracks on that with you.
Lagwagon.
Lagwagon.
Yeah.
I will go back and listen to that one at some
It's
point.
not that- I
But it'll be
listened to
about
it.
5
It's
years
not
from
great,
now
yeah.
when
Beck
it's cool.
put out an album
By the way,
this year.
Beck's album
Beck-
was
Lizzo.
phenomenal.
Lizzo.
Oh
Lizzo's
my
album was
fucking
awesome.
god.
Lagwagon,
Lizzo.
owners of maybe the best album title ever.
Which is
I think my older brother used to listen to Lagwagon. Is the name of one of their
nice.
which
That's
is
a great.
great.
Now I'll say
Church of the Cosmic Skull.
yeah, Church
That
of the
album,
Cosmic
it's
Skull.
only been on a couple weeks.
Is
so
it an
I-
album?
Yeah.
Yeah. How
come
Everybody
I-
dies.
Why is it I can only hear one song from it?
I don't know. I have
I'm
Apple
not
Music
sure.
and it
Oh,
showed
the whole
up on
thing's
my
there?
phone.
Okay, I'll
The whole
I'll
thing's on
listen to
That
Apple Music.
and Green Lung.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Green
yeah, you're
Lung's
talking
the
about
name of
Green
the new one
Lung.
that you
Another
got us
band I
into.
Can I
really
nominate
got
Song of the Year even though it didn't come out this year? I don't think. I think it came out last year. I don't care, whatever.
What are you going with?
Fuckwit City by the Cosmic Psycho.
That came out like 4 years
That's
ago.
so old.
But,
I don't care. That's
It's
my
so-
Song of the Year.
Fuck with
That's
City.
my jam.
That is my problem. I will say to kind of wrap this up. My problem that I have when I look at it, I don't think of what came out this year. I think of what I listened to this year. And Cosmic Psychos is something that I listened to a lot this
Me
year.
too.
I
Especially
got.
Fuckwit City.
Can we do this for next year?
Yeah.
For our
What?
next year wrap up, if it falls
I
within.
hope so.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
It doesn't have to come out this year, but your album or song that you played the most,
Yeah.
or
yeah,
that
yeah.
resonated with you, because
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if
Fuck
a lot of
time
people.
and fuck when it came out. It hit me now.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if a lot of, I mean, probably through our friends, people know who Cosmic Psychos are now. But if you don't know who they are, go back and listen to them. It's just like the chats, you know what I mean?
It's
Go
just-
back and listen to that shit.
They're pub rock. That's what they
You
call
know?
it down in fucking Australia.
So
it's
good.
just
So
pub
fun.
fucking. It's a pub
The
band.
new Pornographers had an
They
album
did
this
have a
year.
new album this year as well. Yep. All right. Well, before we get into the never-ending list of potential songs that came out, we're gonna wrap up this episode here at a nice. We're still not as long as the one episode, 2 hours and like 10 minutes in.
I mean,
big
we're
thank
2 hours
you.
14 minutes. so-
Well, I'm subtracting the 5 for the pre-roll.
all right.
Pre-cum.
But 2 hours and
Subtract the
20
pre-cum.
minutes was the other episode.
Yeah, fair enough.
Big thank you for James for coming on tonight.
Pleasure to be here.
Drinking good
Good
beers.
beers. Yeah, I don't feel like puking tonight.
Don't feel like
I might.
puking.
I might.
I mean,
okay.
just for fun. Always
An adult puke.
a big thank you to Mr. Justin Olampena.
Hey, man, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Anytime.
And as always, we have here beside me Mr. Zachary Storman.
Stroman.
And next week we will be back for our series.
Serious.
We're
This is it.
ending.
It's over.
The season finale.
Season finale.
The dream is over. Take
With the
apart
same
taco
person we
truck.
opened
Take,
the
you gotta
season
take
with.
The
apart
person that we
truck.
opened the season with, Mark Miller, will be back. Mean old man Mark Miller.
And we're redoing a song.
And we are going to be redoing a song from last year. So come back next week and check that out. To everybody that is listening live, thank you so much for joining us live. For everybody that's listening in the future, thank you for tuning in. Check out all the music that we talked about tonight. Help Out Music. Again, a big shout out to Sean L. Sasser.
Get better, dude.
Yeah, man, fucking heal up, and we'll get you on the show, and we'll talk
Go
about
get your flash tattoos. Buy some
eggnog.skateboards.com.
I'm gonna go get some tattoo for sure.
Actually,
Yeah,
you know
Dom
what? You know what? You should see if
doing
Dom
his
will do an
tattoos.
eggnog tattoo for you.
Oh,
Even
maybe
more
he
support.
will. Maybe he will. It's the milk carton with eggnog written on it. It'd be an easy tattoo for him to do. I think he could pull it off. But yeah, go check all of that out. Again, thank you to the Steve-O and the Crippling Addictions for their single "The City" this week. And as always, a big shout out to EJ5000, our super producer, and the guys over at Moot.tv. Check out Let Me Ask You a Question, dropped alongside our episodes every Monday for the Moot Monday drop.
Are we getting them on for the next season?
I have to figure that out. Season 4, if we don't have the
big
guy who's
changes
our
coming
producer,
season 4.
we got a lot coming up. Big changes. And we're definitely going to try to get them on. I'm going to try to be on theirs. We got to be on the girls' podcast as well.
we gotta figure
but what
all
do
that
we know?
stuff
We got a lot of stuff that we got to get put in order. But for Kyle Mocha Won't Shut Up, Season 3, Episode 22.
Can I throw one other thing out?
Ooh, yes.
You know, seriously looking at stuff for like Patreon, supporting the show and doing things further. We should put up a post or something on Facebook to see what people would actually want. Like a fair thing, what they think. Would they like behind the scenes footage, like something special on YouTube that you would only get access to?
Okay.
Patreon type thing.
Ask
like
the people what they want.
I think having a camera rolling from the doorway during the brainstorming sessions for the songs.
Oh Lord.
Especially like tonight.
Yeah.
Fucking ridiculous.
I've got that from some people that they've told me like, oh, you don't realize how much work we put into the songs.
Yeah, well, Rich
Because
was
we just
saying
play
that.
the
we do a
song,
song a day, like to have some more behind the scenes stuff. That,
I'm down with
Which
that.
is
like,
something
that really
that I
show
want to
that
do.
That.
this song that we did, we only did today.
Yep.
Yes.
We only did from 6 to 9 today, and that
Yep.
was the only time we worked on it.
Well, we'll definitely get a bunch of shit coming out to you guys in the next season, but be sure to come back next Tuesday at 9 o'clock with mean
Christmas
old Mark Miller.
extravaganza. We're gonna drink
Are we
dog.
eggnogging it up?
Oh,
yeah.
we are
We're
eggnogging. We still got the
eggnogging
cups, right?
Wait,
They're hiding
yeah.
somewhere.
Yes.
Are you guys gonna do like an eggnog drinking challenge?
Oh no!
Oh, my God,
Last year
please
we
not.
just drank eggnog. I got the moose cups from Christmas Vacation, and
Yes,
we
we
drank
have them
eggnog
all.
out of them. And we all that might have been worse than the day after the fucking soda taste test.
Probably.
Oh,
One
you
year,
guys.
so much eggnog.
Opie and Anthony did an eggnog drinking challenge with
Oh,
a bunch
no.
of like fat dudes trying to drink as much
Yeah.
eggnog as they could.
Oh,
And
the one guy vomited and
He
then
vomited
drank
in,
it up.
no, he
right?
vomited into another guy's
Yeah.
mouth. They called it.
Oh,
Joe
right.
Rogan called it the baby bird.
Yes, yes.
Rogan was on that one.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
hysterical.
Oh Lord! Well,
That
we're
was
not going to be
awful.
doing anything like that. We're just going to be sipping on eggnog and talking about music
Am I
and
puking
other
someone's
things.
mouth?
Yeah, come by.
I mean, you never know. You might puke in somebody's mouth. You never know what would happen.
Come by the liquor store and get some eggnog.
Come by the liquor store, get some eggnog from James. Ooh. All right, guys. Thank you so much for everybody for tuning in and listening live. Thank you, everybody in the future. We'll see you next week with a season finale of season 3 of Kyle Mocha Won't Shut Up.
It's been a long journey.
It has been. As always, here's our closing
Long
theme
and
song
winding
to
road.
play us out. Fucking Things Broken. We'll see you guys
Do it
next
live.
week. Do it live.
Fuck it.
Do it live.
Fuck it,
Fucking
dude.
Things Broken!
Moot.tv.
There's nothing more egomaniacal than singing the theme music for your own show. Who am I? Kelsey Grammer. If I could only drink like him, we're gonna write a new one every week. Some will be solid, some will be weak. We're gonna write